What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8 milliliters. Chapter 161. This is my way of ninja. Please subscribe. Uchiha Xiao looked at the few people coldly. In fact, he had just used the wood clone technique when Terumi-Mei released the acid mist. The boy Onoki has disappeared since just now. Although Uchiha Xiao is arrogant, he is not stupid, and he quickly thought of the possibility of Onoki having a conspiracy. So Uchiha Xiao was always ready to release the wood clone. When the acid mist filled the air, his keen combat awareness let him know that there would definitely be an attack against him next. Sure enough, Onoki's dust escape arrived as promised. If Uchiha Xiao were slower, he might really capsize in the gutter. Onoki said, "It's all my fault, my plan is so bad." Onoki sighed, losing a powerful combat force, which made the battlefield situation even more difficult. "I don't blame you, Lord Tsuchikage, this guy is really too strong." Terumi-Mei looked at the superior Uchiha Xiao and said slowly. "Thank me, I'll give you time to sigh. This is one of the few kindnesses I give you." Uchiha Xiao spread his hands with a very indifferent expression on his face. Ai's face suddenly became furious, just when he wanted to rush forward to vent his anger. A shout came from not far away. "Kakashi-sensei." Everyone looked over and saw Naruto hurriedly coming, followed by the 4 Hokages of the Dirty Land. Naruto was very fast and rushed here immediately. Looking at Kakashi lying on the ground, Naruto's inner uneasiness became more and more intense. "Kakashi-sensei, are you injured?" Naruto looked at the 4 shadows with hopeful eyes, hoping to get a positive answer from the 4 shadows' mouths. The 4 shadows did not dare to look directly into Naruto's eyes. Looking at the expressions of the 4 shadows, Naruto's eyes slowly lost their luster. "How come?" Thump. Naruto knelt beside Kakashi's body. The 4 Impure World Reincarnation Hokages also rushed over. Minato looked at Kakashi who fell on the ground, and infinite sadness arose in his heart. Kakashi. 3 of his students, Obito, Lin, and Kakashi, are all dead. This is really not something a teacher wants to see. Third generation looked at Kakashi's body and sighed. As the longest living among the 4 Hokages, he has seen too many life and death incidents. Although he is sad about Kakashi's death, he will not dwell too much on it. Expression on face. Hashirama and Tobirama frowned. After getting along with each other these days, they also had a lot of affection for Kakashi. Although Kakashi was not strong enough, he was better at doing his duty and he was also the inheritor of the will of fire. Seeing Kakashi's death now, I couldn't help but feel sad for him. Boom. Naruto hammered his hand to the ground, feeling a deep sense of unwillingness in his heart. Damn it, if the power of 6 paths is still there. Naruto tightened his hands. If he had the power of Yang, he could hang Kakashi's life as long as Kakashi had a glimmer of hope. Minato's hand patted Naruto's shoulder. "Naruto." Just when Minato was about to say something, Naruto interrupted Minato. "Dad, I know that I will not be blinded by hatred, I have always had only one purpose." Saying that, Naruto raised his arms and pointed his clenched fist at the indifferent Uchiha Xiao. "That is to stop this guy from causing trouble to the ninja world again. Then bring Sasuke and Granny Tsunade back to the village. Speak directly and do what you say is my way of ninja." Minato showed a pleased expression. It seemed that he had underestimated Naruto's character. Uchiha Xiao was also quite surprised. You should know that Naruto is only 14 years old at most. He didn't expect to have the tenacious character of the 16-year-old in the plot so quickly. You know, in less than a year, Naruto has experienced unimaginable suffering, and people around him have passed away one after another. Third generation, Jiraiya, Sasuke's departure, Tsunade's betrayal. If it were an ordinary person, he would probably have been driven crazy by this painful reality, but Naruto was still able to remain optimistic and positive. Suffering will bring infinite power. Naruto, it seems you understand this too. Uchiha Xiao's voice came slowly. Naruto shook his head. "It's my companions and my ninja who give me strength. A loner like you won't understand." He is indeed the talkative king. If Uchiha Xiao was at his most violent, he would have flown over to fight Naruto at this time. Uchiha Xiao's cold expression revealed a sarcastic smile. "Really? Then let me see your ninja skills." He stretched out his hand and curled his fingers at Naruto. Call. A whirlwind exploded under Naruto's feet, and he flew towards Uchiha Xiao at extremely fast speeds. Minato immediately shouted. "Quick! Cover Naruto." Naruto can be said to be the strongest person on the field at this time. Although he has lost the power of 6 paths, he has indeed mastered the power of 9 tails, plus Sage Mode. Adding the two together, Naruto's strength has reached the peak of Kage level, and is only one step away from reaching the level of 6 paths. Facing Naruto like this, it would take a lot of effort for Uchiha Xiao to kill him. With Naruto's strength, the other cages seemed to be reduced to cover tools. Looking at Naruto running towards him, Uchiha Xiao moved back, and then he found that a thick wall of sand had risen behind him. Desert burial. It turns out that from the moment Gaara arrived early, she secretly filled the surrounding area with yellow sand in order to suppress Uchiha Xiao at this moment. If he's lucky, he can even seal Uchiha Xiao directly. It's a good idea, but it's a pity that you are too weak. Uchiha Xiao commented. The next second, I saw Uchiha Xiao 560's eyes glowing red, and Susanoo in the second form immediately appeared and broke through Gaara's Sand Sea attack. At this time, Naruto had already arrived in front of Susan. Naruto did not roll the balls or use the Rasenshuriken, but simply hit Susan with his fist. Bang! Click! A crack appeared on the red skin. Uchiha Xiao raised his eyebrows. Naruto's power is very impressive. Seeing a crack appearing on Susanoo's body, Tobirama took advantage of the opportunity and accurately hit the crack with a water-severing wave. Click! Susanoo's shell finally cracked, and several moviegoers immediately started taking action. Onoki slapped his hands on the ground. Earth-style earthquake core. Uchiha Xiao felt the ground beneath his feet shaking. Then, a circular crack suddenly appeared on the ground, and the entire Susanoo sank in for a while. Water-style. Water formation pillar. Terumi Mei spat out, and a meteorite-like water ball hit Uchiha Xiao hard. Seeing water-style, third generation also released a bolt of thunder and lightning in time. Lightning style and water style combined to form a water dragon with electric light all over its body. In the pit, countless elements gathered and exploded, and Uchiha Xiao seemed to be reduced to a turtle in an urn, unable to rise again. A group of ninjas felt the exciting chakra fluctuations in the distance, and their hearts became excited. Under such an attack, even if Uchiha Xiao doesn't die, he still needs to be skinned, right? Chapter 162, The Fastest Legend in the Ninja World. Please subscribe. Hashirama did not take action. He frowned, because he knew that such an attack was just childish for Uchiha Xiao. Sure enough, when the smoke and dust of the battle dispersed, a solid wooden shield came into view. Hashirama couldn't help but smile. Xiao, your learning ability is as amazing as ever. That's right, the wooden shield in the pit is Hashirama's strongest defense, wood-style list technique. A crack opened in the middle of the shield, and then the shield suddenly opened, and a black figure quickly jumped out of the shield. Careful. By the time Onoki reacted, Minato had already stood in front of him, and Uchiha Xiao had already put his hand on Minato's chest. Oh, it is indeed a yellow flash. Uchiha Xiao smiled. Onoki's heart was beating fast. If Minato hadn't blocked it for him just now, he would definitely die here. Onoki quickly jumped back to distance himself from Uchiha Xiao. However, Uchiha Xiao didn't want to pay attention to Onoki at this time, and his eyes looked at Minato. He hadn't played with Minato yet, but he immediately became interested when he saw Minato. A black stick appeared in his hand, and Uchiha Xiao rushed towards Minato. Minato was not afraid at all and rushed forward with a flying thunder god kunai. Ding dong. Bang. The collision between the black rod and the kunai sparked a burst of sparks. At the same time, the two men's hands and feet were not free, and they hit each other, and strong winds exploded from the two of them. Uchiha Xiao is not only exquisite in physical skills, but also has top-notch strength and speed. Logically speaking, ordinary cage-level players are no match for her. However, even so, Minato still did not fall behind. The flying thunder god kunai in his hand flew up and down. Whenever he was about to be hit, he would use the flying thunder god to escape. At the same time, he often appears suddenly at very strange angles, and then delivers a thrilling blow to Uchiha Xiao. Tobirama looked at Minato's flying thunder god and admired it sincerely. This young man is good, he uses the flying thunder god better than me. Third generation said. He was the most talented young man at the time and the youngest person to become a Hokage. Third generation said, a little proud, after all, Minato is his designated Hokage. The battle between the two was so fast that even the ordinary cage didn't dare to intervene. At this time, I stood up, with lightning all over his body, and the lightning-style armor had been activated. Just let me meet Uchiha Xiao again. I has always been brooding over the last time his arm was chopped off by Uchiha Xiao, so for more than 2 months, I has left his daily political affairs to Mabuyi to handle, while he himself indulged in the bodybuilding technique. At this time, the lightning and muscles on his body were much stronger than they were more than 2 months ago. I rushed over quickly, turned his fist into a palm, and rode towards Uchiha Xiao fiercely. Lateral bolt of pain. Loud thunder reached his ears. Faced with this palm, Uchiha Xiao did not dodge, but chose to attack hard. I saw him condensing wind style in his hand and facing the upper level. Boom. His motionless figure moved slightly, and Uchiha Xiao showed a slightly surprised expression. You have become a lot stronger, Listening to Uchiha Xiao's words, I just snorted. His special training in the past 2 months was indeed effective, but for a strong person like Uchiha Xiao, the effect was not great. Elion took a few steps back and came to Minato's side. I smiled. I've long wanted to fight alongside you, Yellow Flash. Minato also showed a smile. Don't come, Raikage-sama. As he spoke, Minato Guai stretched out his head. Looking at Minato's fist, I was slightly startled, and then showed a hearty smile. You also know Cloud Shinobi's etiquette. In Cloud Shinobi, fist bumping represents recognition and companionship. I did not refuse and extended his fist-to-fist bump with Minato. During the Third War, Minato had a battle with The battle was inseparable. Although the two admired each other very much, due to the war, they had to fight to the death. However, at this time, two people who admire each other can fight side by side, and the fighting spirit in their hearts has also increased. Uchiha Xiao looked at the two fistfights and smiled. Both of you are the fastest legends in the ninja world. It's a pity that your movements are invisible to my Sharingan. As he spoke, Uchiha Xiao turned into a gust of wind and struck quickly. Ai's eyes widened. Uchiha Xiao's speed had surpassed him. Lightning-style armor. Ai Zhong outputted a large amount of chakra, and the defense of the lightning-style armor on his body increased. Facing this lightning-style armor, Uchiha Xiao also had a clever plan. He spit out a whirlwind from his mouth, and the whirlwind wrapped around the black rod and turned into a sword. Wind-style vacuum sword. As we all know, wind-style defeats lightning-style, and Uchiha Xiao's wind-style is obviously very powerful. Ai's eyes are about to burst. If he is hit by this vacuum sword, then he may really die. At this moment, Minato's figure suddenly appeared next to Ai's hand, and the Rasengan in his hand was pointed directly at Uchiha Xiao. There was no other way. Uchiha Xiao could only roll a few times in the air to avoid Minato's attack. Ai looked surprised. He didn't expect Minato's support to come so quickly. At this time, Minato scratched his head and smiled sheepishly. Master Hokage, for the sake of caution, I left the mark of the Flying Thunder God on your hand. I was stunned and looked at his hand, only to see a string of characters on the back of his hand. No wonder Minato suddenly wanted to fist bump with him. It turned out to be convenient for leaving a layer of Flying Thunder God on Ai's body. Minato said embarrassedly. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, in order not to be discovered by him, I had to take this step. I did not blame Minato, but said loudly, you saved my life. Do I care about these little details? As he said that, Ai's face showed another smile. I really owe you and my son a lot. Naruto had saved his life, Minato had now saved his life. Minato just smiled softly, and then looked at Uchiha Xiao, his face returning to a serious expression. Wang Hao. Then, as if they had a tacit understanding, the two attacked Uchiha Xiao almost at the same time. Lightning-style Lei Richu. Rasengan Man. Uchiha Xiao twisted her body and dodged the two attacks in a dance-like posture. Minato and I were not discouraged. The attack just now was just to get closer to Uchiha Xiao. Soon, the three of them started fighting. Others watched not far away, cheering for Minato and I in their hearts. Naruto also clenched his fists. Although his strength and speed were good, his physical skills were really poor. At that time, he had the power of 6 paths, but he was still invincible in terms of physical skills. What's more, even the power of 6 paths is gone now. Naruto estimated that if he faced Uchiha Xiao in taijutsu, he would be defeated in less than 5 rounds. So even though he had the idea of going forward to fight, Naruto still held back. He didn't want to cause trouble to his father and Uncle Black. Chapter 163. Let me see the power of the ninja world today. Please subscribe. The battle continued, and the three seemed to be in a stalemate. Minato looked a little ugly. He had been looking for an opportunity to put a mark of Flying Thunder God on Uchiha Xiao. However, Uchiha Xiao seemed to have seen through Minato's thoughts and did not give Minato a chance. And as time went by, I slowly showed signs of decline. After all, he doesn't have Minato's unlimited physical strength like Impure World Reincarnation, nor does he have Uchiha Xiao's terrifying physical fitness. And the small decline revealed by this point will be infinitely magnified in Uchiha Xiao's Sharingan. Uchiha Xiao narrowed his eyes, and he saw a flaw in Ai. In an instant, his hand shook quickly. Bah! A black rod was inserted directly into Ai's ribs. Humph! Ai glanced at it. He didn't pay much attention to the injury. It usually hurts more when practicing. This kind of wound is nothing. Just when I wanted to continue fighting despite the pain, he discovered that the chakra on his body began to index. What? As the body's chakra becomes disordered, the lightning-style chakra on Ai's body also begins to become erratic. When Minato saw this, the Flying Thunder God immediately came to Ai's side. Master Hokage 240, there's something weird about these black sticks. You'd better step aside for now and I'll fight them. Although he was not convinced, I also knew that now was not the time to act on impulse. Seeing that the situation was about to turn into Minato fighting alone, third generation immediately suggested, let's go too. As he spoke, he cast the summoning technique. Sarutobi, what's going on? The monkey demon was summoned, and the moment he saw third generation, he was confused. Why are you suddenly alive? Third generation smiled at the monkey demon and said, I'm sorry, monkey demon, I don't have time to explain to you. You just need to know that now is the most critical moment in the ninja world. The ape demon nodded, struck a pose, and then transformed into a black gold stick. Minato's face was solemn as never before. At this time, he was already at a disadvantage, and Uchiha Xiao could see through every move. He finally understood why he and Uchiha Xiao had a back-and-forth fight at the beginning. It wasn't that Uchiha Xiao wasn't strong enough, but that Uchiha Xiao deliberately let off steam. Uchiha Xiao deliberately lowered his strength to a level similar to Minato's, and then through a long battle, he figured out Minato's routines. It can be said that Uchiha Xiao already knows Minato's routines well. Minato's battle, CBED, in front of Uchiha Xiao has no secrets anymore. Vajra Ruyi stick. At this time, a long stick was suddenly thrust towards him. The attack was very sudden. Uchiha Xiao crossed his arms on his chest. Boom. The power of the Vajra Ruyi rod is very powerful. The moment it hits, a powerful shock wave and airflow burst out, and in an instant, smoke and dust billow from the ground. However, the third generation who hit Uchiha Xiao did not show joy, but looked in disbelief. He used all his strength on that stick just now. You know, the full power Vajra Ruyi stick can move 9 tails from the Konoha barrel to the outside of the village. And Uchiha Xiao, a human, only took 2 steps back when faced with the same attack. Seeing this, Onoki also stepped forward to fight. At this time, Naruto spoke. Everyone, please do your best. I have already negotiated with Kurama, and he promised me to lend you chakra. As soon as he finished speaking, Onoki and others noticed a burst of red chakra floating on their bodies. The next second, they felt a steady stream of power coming up. Terumi Mei looked at her hands curiously. Is this the ability of 9 tails? Onoki smiled and murmured. I haven't felt so full in a long time. Gaara felt chakra. It feels similar to Shukaku's, but the aura feels a little more evil. I had already pulled out the black rod from his ribs, and 9 tails chakra instantly restored his injuries. I smiled. I finally know how that guy feels. I will take revenge on you. But it doesn't stop there. Not only the cages received 9 tails chakra, but more than 10,000 other ninjas also received gifts from 9 tails. The ninjas looked at the red light on their bodies in surprise. Okay, so strong. What a majestic chakra. This is only 1/10,000th of the chakra. How many chakras does 9 tails have? Some injured people also benefited from 9 tails chakra, and their wounds began to recover quickly. Many Jonin originally thought they could not participate in this war, but as soon as the plug-in arrived, they instantly felt that they could. Soon, many ninjas also ran over, wanting to support the cages. Suddenly, hundreds of densely packed figures appeared behind Naruto and others. You guys are really unexpected. First, Uchiha Xiao looked at Naruto, and he found that Naruto was looking at him with burning eyes. Naruto said, "See, this is the power of companions." Uchiha Xiao was too lazy to talk to Naruto. He moved and appeared directly next to Naruto. Naruto also reacted, turned around and hit Uchiha Xiao with a ball. Uchiha Xiao grabbed Naruto's wrist with one hand, grabbed his arm with the other hand, and then threw him to the ground with an over-the-shoulder throw. Boom! The remaining power of Rasengan hit the ground, and a big crater suddenly appeared. Just when Uchiha Xiao wanted to take advantage of the victory, a golden light suddenly appeared on Naruto who fell to the ground. Kurama mode. Whizzing. 9 huge golden fox tails swung towards Uchiha Xiao, but Uchiha Xiao kept dodging the huge tails. The tail hit the ground, and small pits appeared. Then the tails disappeared, but the golden 9 tails coat had already been put on Naruto's body. Naruto flew forward, crossed his arms, and then raised them high, his swollen arms hitting Uchiha Xiao like a heavy hammer. Facing this powerful and heavy blow, Uchiha Xiao was not frightened at all, and the blue chakra gathered in his hand. Tongtian fist. A punch covered in chakra exploded from Naruto's hammer. Boom. The two attacks collided, causing a commotion like thousands of detonating talismans exploding. The residual power of the attack slowly disappeared, and then a vine suddenly appeared, firmly grasping Uchiha Xiao's waist. The vine wrapped Uchiha Xiao, raised it high, and then slammed it to the ground. Hashirama clasped his hands together and looked at the pothole. The smoke slowly dissipated, and Uchiha Xiao in the pothole activated Susanoo early. The hit just now did no harm at all. The huge skeleton smashed hard, breaking the vines directly. At this moment, the ninjas and shadows launched a violent attack on Uchiha Xiao. Everyone knows that Susanoo will slow down the caster along with it. If we don't bomb Uchiha Xiao now, how long will it take? Water-style monster melting technique. Fire-style fire dragon flame bullet. Lightning-style fake dark. Facing the firepower composed of this ninjutsu, Uchiha Xiao lifted Susanoo without hesitation. In an instant, the weight on his body suddenly lightened. Looking at the overwhelming offensive, Uchiha smiled. Let me see the scale of today's ninja world. Chapter 164. Reikage, die. Please subscribe. Uchiha Xiao's actions are tantamount to suicide in the eyes of everyone. Voluntarily removing Susanoo, and facing these offensives, he even rushed over. You know, Uchiha Xiao is no longer Impure World Reincarnation, but a real body. Relying on the body of Impure World Reincarnation, Minato also rushed in and fought with Uchiha Xiao. Countless ninjutsu and taijutsu are intertwining and erupting, and Uchiha Xiao is like a dancer. He shuttles calmly among these attacks. The two Sharingans are moving at high speed and turn into 2 red lights escaping in the air. Yu Zhu Ming. For a moment, everything around stopped. Naruto looked at the scene around him, and he instantly understood that Uchiha Xiao had used the time trick again. He immediately ran towards Uchiha Xiao, because every time Uchiha Xiao used Yuzu life, someone's life would pass away. Uchiha Xiao was also a little surprised by Naruto. Naruto had obviously lost the power of 6 paths, but he didn't expect to be able to escape the shackles of Tamazu's life at this time. Is it the result of the power of 6 paths remaining in Naruto? Well, it's not a big deal anyway. Uchiha meowed. Soon, Naruto rushed to Uchiha Xiao. He looked at Uchiha Xiao warily, trying to prevent Uchiha Xiao from doing anything. However, Uchiha Xiao just crossed his arms and didn't make any move. Just when Naruto was confused, Uchiha Xiao stretched out his fingers. Uchiha Xiao looked sarcastic and pointed behind Naruto. Turning around, he saw another Uchiha Xiao already standing behind, with the black stick in his hand already pierced into Ai's neck. Uncle Black. Clone. How is that possible? Naruto's face was filled with disbelief. After gaining all the power of 9 tails, Naruto could distinguish even the most difficult shadow clone. Uchiha Xiao, how is that possible? At this time, I heard Uchiha Xiao slowly say, wood clone is a good ninjutsu. After saying that, the area where the pause button had been pressed began to move again, and the fierce and rebellious Zebo Dong attacked the sky. At this time, Minato suddenly found Naruto appearing next to him. Naruto, why are you here? Naruto said painfully. Uncle Black, die. Minato quickly turned around and saw that at some point, a black rod had been inserted into Ai's neck, and blood was flowing out along the hole in the middle of the black rod. The hearts of those present suddenly sank. This is probably due to Uchiha Xiao's time-stopping ability. Bang! Terumi Mei hit the ground with her hands, and a small hole was made on the ground. Her strength is not very high among the 5 shadows. The death of 2 shadows in succession gave her a big impact. Coupled with that inexplicable time-stopping ability. To be honest, Terumi Mei has some intention of quitting. The more she fights, the more difficult she feels that this battle is different from the past. But in this situation, she couldn't open her mouth. All her thoughts turned into a sigh in her mouth. At this time, a group of ninjas were still conducting ninjutsu bombing on Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao was dodging calmly while using Sharingan to observe everywhere, looking for gaps in these offensives. Soon, Uchiha Xiao found an opening. Seizing the gap, Uchiha Xiao completed the seal in an instant, and a powerful and intense flame spurted out from his mouth. Fire style extinguished the fire. As if it were a flame summoned from human hell, the red sea of fire was overwhelming. A group of ninjas rushed forward. It could be seen from their costumes that they were mist shinobi ninjas. They formed and released seals in an orderly manner. Water style water barrier. Bah! The sound of steaming flames sounded, and a large amount of water vapor rose rapidly and floated towards the ninja coalition. The ninjas of Sunagakur also made arrangements early. They were arranged in the back and released wind-style great breakthrough together, blowing a large amount of high-temperature water vapor towards Uchiha Xiao. The water vapor was whistling along with the wind and sand. Naturally, Uchiha Xiao didn't care about this, but his line of sight was indeed blocked. At this moment, a powerful aura appeared in front of him, which was the fluctuation of Nine Tails chakra. Naruto. At this moment, the water vapor in front of him suddenly began to rotate rapidly, and it emptied out instantly, and then a mini-tailed beast bomb appeared. Uchiha Xiao immediately reached for his waist, took out a scroll, and then summoned the contents of the scroll. Tailed Beast Bomb Rasengan. Naruto holds a jutsu that combines Tailed Beast Bomb and Rasengan in his hand. This jutsu is so powerful that he believes that even Susanoo can be destroyed with one blow. However, at this moment, Naruto felt huge resistance in his hands. I saw Uchiha Xiao holding a weird and huge fan. It was this strange fan that blocked Naruto's attack. Naruto was a little confused. No matter how small this Tailed Beast Bomb was, it was still a Tailed Beast Bomb. How could it be blocked by this weird fan? No matter how unbelievable he is, it is the fact. Boom. The fan erupted with a loud noise, and soon, all the aura of the Tailed Beast Bomb dissipated, replaced by a ball of strong wind that gathered on the fan. Please give me flowers. The next second, Uchiha Xiao spoke slowly. Uchiha rebounded. As soon as he finished speaking, Uchiha Xiao held a fan in his hand and waved it vigorously. Call. There was a violent sound of wind, and Naruto was knocked away uncontrollably. The strong wind made his whole face look ferocious, and his whole face was like the undulating sea surface. As the strong wind turned into a huge wind bomb, Naruto was swallowed, and flew toward the ninja coalition outside. A group of strong wind bombs appeared, and upon closer inspection, Uzumaki Naruto was being carried by the wind bombs and attacking quickly. The speed of the wind bomb was so fast that many ninjas had no time to dodge. Some ninjas released the earth formation walls, but in front of the wind bombs, the solid earth walls also turned into powder. Boom. In an instant, the wind bomb exploded in the crowd, killing another 100 ninjas on the spot. 0.0. The number of injured increased again, and the already overwhelmed medical troops had to work harder. Naruto. Minato and others quickly surrounded Naruto. Naruto was lying on the ground with scars all over his body. The sharp wind blew all over Naruto's body. Although the wounds were healing, he still looked extremely hideous. Naruto opened his eyes. Dad, I'm fine. Minato felt relieved when he heard that Naruto's voice was still so full of energy. Later, Everyone asked Naruto what had just happened, and Naruto told the information. The well-informed third generation immediately said, the Uchiha fan is the sacred weapon of the Uchiha clan. Everyone was confused. Uchiha's artifact. Why haven't I heard of it before? Third generation began to popularize science. It was a product of the Sengoku era. The actual object was lost in the battle between Uchiha Madara and Shodai, but unexpectedly it was recovered by Uchiha Xiao. Hashirama nodded. The fan method is very strange. It can reflect all escape techniques, including Naruto's tailed beast bomb just now into wind style. All the figures looked at each other in shock. This method is really weird. It can actually deflect all attacks, including the tailed beast bomb. This is indeed worthy of the name of an artifact. Uchiha Xiao put his fan behind his back. He looked at the ocean-like ninja coalition and spread his hands. Come on, you losers, if you have any tricks, just use them. With the addition of chakra, Uchiha Xiao's voice spread to the ears of everyone present. After hearing what Uchiha Xiao said, many people dared to be angry and dare not speak out, but more people felt a deep sense of powerlessness. After all, Uchiha Xiao was indeed qualified and capable to talk about this neighborhood. Chapter 165, Shikaku's Tactics. Please subscribe. Onoki's old voice sounded. How arrogant. Mizukage-sama, Kazekage-sama, have the troops arrived? Terumi Mei and Gaara nodded. Onoki thought for a while, and then said, don't reveal the news about the death of the movie. I'm afraid that Cloud Shinobi's army will be unstable. At this time, everyone looked not far away, where there was a radio station. Lu Ju sat in front of the radio and asked inside, are you in place? The first unit is in position. The second unit is in position. A total of 5 troops were all in place. This was Shikaku's tactic. He had already commanded some ninja coalition troops to hide not far from Uchiha Xiao. Lu Ju walked to the radio station. He was the one who made the battle plan this time. Naturally, he was also needed to give orders. Hope it works this time. 540. Onoki looked at the high-spirited Uchiha Xiao and prayed in his heart. Just when Uchiha Xiao felt a little bored, a large number of chakra suddenly appeared not far away. Uchiha Xiao looked over and saw many ninjas there. After a rough count, there were nearly 1,000 ninjas there. From the white clothes on his body, Uchiha Xiao recognized that these were all ninjas from Cloud Shinobi. Lightning style. Lightning pillar. Soon, a strong white light flashed out, and Uchiha Xiao couldn't help but half closed his eyes. At this moment, a dozen ninjas jumped out from the Cloud Shinobi ninjas. They were the few masters of gang escape in Cloud Shinobi village. They stretched out their hands, and blue, soft lasers were emitted from their hands. Land-done laser circus. Dozens of rays of light hit Uchiha Xiao from all angles. At this time, Uchiha Xiao's calm face finally frowned. Without eyesight, Uchiha Xiao could actually use his perception ability to dodge, but the problem now is that in his perception, there are too many chakras from the lightning pillar and land-done. These chakras are all mixed together, huge and complex, and difficult to perceive, so the only things Uchiha Xiao can rely on now are hearing and combat instincts. Although it is troublesome, this technique stops at being troublesome. His figure keeps flashing. Land-done is different from the ordinary lightning style, he can also turn, and his attacks are also very changeable. However, Uchiha Xiao seemed to be able to prophesy, and he just avoided Land-done's attack every time he dodged. Everyone looked on in surprise, not expecting that Uchiha Xiao could dodge the technique even like this. You know, Land-done is called soft electricity, and its attack angle is tricky, so Uchiha Xiao can usually dodge it. Now Uchiha Xiao has lost her vision and her perception is weak. In this way, she can actually dodge these densely packed Land-done lasers. Everyone can only say that it is terrifying. At this moment, a very powerful Land-done laser suddenly struck. Uchiha Xiao frowned. He really couldn't dodge this move. Susanoo. The red light and skeleton enveloped Uchiha Xiao, and the powerful Land-done hit the Uchiha clan's strongest defense without causing any waves. However, everyone was not discouraged because the offensive was far from over. At this moment, Uchiha Xiao's ears twitched slightly, and he heard the sound of complicated footsteps coming again. By rough estimation, there were thousands more. Again, I saw a group of ninjas wearing sand shinobi vests running towards them. They formed seals together, and the seals were of the same height. It was obviously a powerful combined ninjutsu. Wind-style super-heroic killing array. A huge tornado appeared out of thin air. The tornado rolled up all the surrounding sand and rocks, covering Baojibo Xiao and his Susanoo inside. Uchiha Xiao, who had regained some vision after the lightning beam disappeared, was deprived of vision again because the sound of the wind and sand was too loud, and even the only remaining hearing was deprived. It's really troublesome, Uchiha Xiao murmured. Immediately afterwards, another 1,000 ninjas arrived. They were Iwagakure's ninjas. First, hundreds of rock shinobi ninjas clapped their hands on the ground. Earth-style. Earthquake core. A huge circular crack opened with Uchiha Xiao as the center. Then Uchiha Xiao felt his body tremble, and the ground under his feet began to fall rapidly. This feeling is like taking an elevator, or more like an out-of-control elevator. After the fall stopped, Uchiha Xiao looked around and found that the hole was at least 100 meters deep. It's quite a big deal. The corner of Uchiha Xiao's mouth curled up slightly. He knew that what came next was the highlight, so Uchiha Xiao cooperated very well to transform Susanna on his body into a perfect one. Form. Hashirama also walked to the pit. Seeing that Susan's head was about to be higher than the pit, he used the wood dragon technique without hesitation and tied up the entire Susan. Feeling the wooden dragon on his body, Uchiha Xiao felt boredom in his eyes. He looked at Hashirama. Is this the only way? That's so disappointing. As he said that, Uchiha Xiao controlled Susanna to struggle, and soon, cracks began to appear on the wooden dragon on his body. But obviously, the plans of the Ninja Alliance are far from stopping there. Soon, 2 more gangs of ninjas came, and they surrounded the pothole. Of course it's much more than that. As Kuretsuchi shouted, the rock shinobi ninjas around her opened their mouths, and some white sand-like substance poured on Susanna. Earth-style lime condensation technique. As the lime fell, the mist shinobi ninja on the other side was not to be outdone. Water-style water chaos. A large amount of water poured down, and the water combined with lime and turned into sticky lime mud. Uchiha Xiao manipulated it, and sure enough, Susan's movement became very difficult. Even the wings on Susan's back were entangled in heavy lime mud, making it difficult to fly high. Almost seamlessly, another group of ninjas rushed over. Kuretsuchi shouted as he retreated. The ninjas of Konoha are counting on you. Oh, a group of people wearing Konoha vests appeared. If you observe carefully, you will find that the appearance and eyebrows of these people are more or less similar to those of the previous generation. Obviously, this group of people is the Sarutobi clan in Konoha today. Since the destruction of the Uchiha clan, the fire style of the Sarutobi clan has become the strongest in the village. 1.1 Fire Style Haoyan Technique. The fire technique is the secret fire style of the Sarutobi clan, and it is very powerful. Call. The raging flames poured out in large quantities towards Susan, and the already sticky lime mud directly turned into concrete under the influence of high temperature. Oh, that's the trick. Uchiha Xiao understood. The hardness of concrete is well known. At this time, the entire Susanoo was tightly surrounded by concrete. If he could barely move when it was covered with cement just now that his whole body is covered with concrete, Susanoo can't even move. At this moment, a sharp whistling sound suddenly appeared from above. Uchiha Xiao looked up and saw Naruto holding a spiral shuriken, and the color in the center of the spiral shuriken was a colorful Modara. Black. Wind-style tailed beast bomb rosin shuriken. Chapter 166. C0 Self-Destruct. Please subscribe. Facing the massive tailed beast bomb spiral shuriken, Uchiha Xiao did not show any fear, but stretched out his hand and said, "Well done." At the same time, on the other side of the battlefield, Uchiha Itachi, or Tendo Pain, who was still killing everyone, suddenly fell to the ground. What's going on? Is it another strange technique? When the ninjas saw this, they didn't dare to step forward at all, because they were so impressed by the power shown by Tiandao Pain. All the techniques he displayed were Muji ninjutsu, and each one was so powerful that it had already shaken the hearts of all the ninjas. The screen turned back to Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao's eyes turned into Rinnegan. Feeling the returning heavenly power, Uchiha Xiao stretched out his arms. Naruto held the Rasenshuriken in his hand, and just when he thought he was sure to win, he saw Uchiha Xiao's eyes. Uchiha Xiao's eyes still showed the same calmness as before. Why is he so calm? Uchiha Xiao opened his mouth. New work. 21. Super Shinra Tensehang. Outside, everyone looked nervously at the pothole not far away, hoping that Naruto's final blow would bring huge benefits. Soon, a roar came over, and the Yin family's heart was in their throats. Boom. A low sound came from the pit. Just when everyone was confused, the ground suddenly began to tremble continuously. Then, a visible white shock wave suddenly exploded from the pit. Boom. An extremely strong shock wave spread out with the pit as the center, and the earth began to crack into a circle, and then the scope of the circle continued to expand. Boom. The strong impact even turned into a burst of visible airflow, making a low-pitched sound like a shinigami in all directions. The hard ground undulated like ocean waves under the impact, creating a layer of waves that the ninja coalition forces were afraid of losing. Seen from a distance, this technique can really be called a world-destroying one. What kind of technique is this? Is this a miracle? All the ninjas were very shocked. Why did this Uchiha Xiao have so many tricks? And each one was stronger than the other. The ninjas of Konoha turned pale, because they already had a psychological shadow on this technique. This technique once destroyed half of Konoha and killed thousands of Konoha ninjas. It caused pain to Konoha that has yet to be healed. Hearing the stories of the Konoha shinobi around them, all the ninjas became frightened. If such a technique were released in their ninja village, it would be like a hellish scene. Under the Super Shinra Celestial Conquest, everything around was razed to the ground, and a standard circular hole appeared on the earth. Those who didn't know it thought it was a meteorite crater. Uchiha Xiao stood in the open space, crossing his arms and looking at the ninja coalition in front. Minato's figure flashed back, holding the unconscious Naruto in his hands, and hurriedly looked for the medical team. As the person in charge of this plan, Luju had a lot of sweat on his forehead. He looked at the ancestor Hokage and lowered his head guiltily. I'm sorry, ancestors Hokage, the plan could not be implemented successfully. Third generation comforted. Shikaku, there is no need to belittle yourself, the enemy is too powerful. Hashirama also smiled and said, don't feel guilty, your mind feels better than Tobirama's. Tobirama, call. The cool breeze blew by, Uchiha Xiao felt the wind and closed her eyes. Although Uchiha Xiao can defeat 20,000 ninjas and has 7 cage level experts, he still cannot defeat them in a short time. It seems that we need to speed up the process. Thinking like this, Uchiha Xiao touched the ground with his feet and used Rinnegan's ability to float above Chen. Looking at Uchiha Xiao flying in the air, many people are afraid. After all, they don't know what strange and powerful moves Uchiha Xiao will come up with. Of course, there are still many people who are arrogant and talk nonsense to Uchiha Xiao below. It doesn't matter if you can fly, we Master Cage can also fly. That's right, Uchiha Xiao slowly floated not far away from the ninja coalition, and the army became vigilant. Many people had already begun to mobilize chakra, waiting for Uchiha Xiao to attack so that they could start to counterattack. At this time, I saw Uchiha Xiao forming a seal with his hands, and then pressing his hands on the ground. Summoning technique. As a burst of white smoke rose, a figure appeared. Onoki's pupils widened. Deidara. The people around looked at Onoki. Tsuchikage-sama, do you know this person? A trace of pain flashed in Onoki's eyes, but he quickly said, Deidara is my apprentice. His explosion-style ninjutsu is very powerful, but he was killed by Uchiha Xiao not long ago. Then Onoki paused, and looked at Uchiha Xiao with a trace of hatred in his eyes. Even if he killed my apprentice, he also used Deidara's corpse to make a puppet. Not only did he inherit the abilities of his lifetime, but he also gained the abilities of the Rinnegan. Onoki reminded everyone. Everyone, be careful with his explosive clay. His explosion style is very powerful. This kid has rebelled against the village for so many years, and I don't even know what trump card he has. At this moment, Uchiha Xiao spoke. Really? Then I'll let you know. As he spoke, Deidara suddenly untied his clothes and saw a mouth on his left chest. He put a large lump of explosive clay into the mouth on his chest. Then, he began to run quickly towards the ninja coalition. Onoki immediately shouted. Hurry! Stop him quickly. Onoki knew Deidara's expertise in explosions, and Deidara's move must be some kind of wolf move. After hearing this, all the ninjas quickly used ninjutsu, but Deidara was controlled by Uchiha Xiao. Ordinary ninjutsu and hidden weapons could not do anything to Deidara, and Deidara easily dodged it. Water-style water dragon bomb. A water dragon spurted out from Tobirama's mouth, with a powerful and terrifying sound, but Deidara just stretched out his arm. Sealing technique absorbing seal. A translucent shield appeared in front of Deidara, and then the huge water dragon was directly absorbed by Deidara. Soon, Deidara rushed to the front of the battle. At this time, his skin began to become transparent, the meridians on his body turned black, and the chakra all over his body gathered on his left chest, which made his heart shine with white light. 2 words came out of Deidara's mouth. Colorado. The next second, the white light in his heart became even more dazzling. Onoki opened his eyes wide, it was about to end. No one knew what Deidara's tricks were, but they still felt the strong aura of danger. The strong white light illuminated their frightened expressions. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Everyone looked over and saw that it was 4th Hokage, Namikaze Minato. Minato placed the flying thunder god kunai horizontally in his hand, and the next second, a technique appeared in front of him out of thin air. Seeing this scene, Tobirama showed a clear face. Namikaze Minato. Your attainments in flying thunder god have already surpassed mine. Minato's eyes were filled with incomparable calmness, and he said lightly. Flying thunder god technique. Chapter 167. Camp roar. Please subscribe. Just when the intense white light turned into an explosion and a huge roar resounded across the battlefield. Minato used the flying thunder god to deflect part of the explosion that was close to the cage. The next second, a white light soaring into the sky came from the distance, followed immediately by an explosion that shook the ground. The 3 cage were very shocked. Not far away from the place where the explosion was not moved, the light wave of the explosion swallowed up the ninjas. The strong white light shone on the faces of several cages, illuminating the surprise on their faces. The violent airflow generated by the explosion forced them to put their arms in front of their faces, and many weak ninjas were even blown away by these airflows. Not only that, even Hashirama and Tobirama were very surprised by the power of C0. Even Hashirama did not dare to resist this level of explosion and power. The white light soaring into the sky and the scope of the explosion are already comparable to true several thousand hands. However, Hashirama also noticed that this technique seemed to be the last blow of the caster and could only be used once in a lifetime. As time slowly passed, the explosion began to gradually disappear, and the white light that shot into the sky slowly began to disappear and dispersed in the air. When the explosion stopped, even though they knew it was safe, everyone still did not dare to take any action. Clang. Ding. There were constant sounds of weapons falling. The ninjas of Konoha were okay. They had seen big scenes, but the ninjas of other villages had not seen them. They fell to their knees, dropped their weapons, and some even seemed to have a mental breakdown, shouting that this was a miracle. Shikaku's face was still pale. Even if he was as knowledgeable as he had never seen such a technique before. He looked obviously very frightened. But he still pulled himself together and gave loud instructions. Captains of each unit, count the number of troops. Also, calm everyone's emotions. With the sporadic reports, everyone's expressions suddenly dimmed, but the final result was still not reported because the scope of the explosion was too large. The three Kages were shocked. They looked at Minato, the fourth Hokage who died young, and saved them with his magic. Not only the three shadows, but also more than 1,000 ninjas behind them were saved by Minato. In response to this, Minato did not look embarrassed as usual, but instead looked remorseful. But, I failed to save other people 1.1. Everyone looked aside. The aftermath of the explosion alone was enough to kill nearly 1,000 ninjas, not to mention this unheard of explosion. I'm afraid this explosion could kill 4 to 5,000 ninjas. Several people looked at the deep pit created by the explosion. The explosion range of this pit was actually 10 kilometers. Sweat broke out on Onoki's forehead. This boy, after being out for so long, he actually mastered such a move. His heart was complicated, and on one side he was proud of his former disciple. On the one hand, the damage caused by the explosion to the ninja coalition was too great. He also felt guilty and blamed himself for not teaching Madara well in the first place. At this time, each army reported their number of troops. There were more than 6,000 dead. Due to the short statistical time, and possible errors, the explosion directly caused the death of 7,000 people. Coupled with Uchiha Xiao's previous indiscriminate killings, not long after the war started, more than 20,000 Ninja Alliance ninjas died, and more than 10,000 people died. Terumi Mei calmed down and comforted Minato. It's okay, 4th Hokage-sama, you have done an incredible job by protecting us Kage. There is no problem with Terumi Mei's words. If even the 3 remaining Kages are dead, then there will be no need to fight this battle. Onoki and Gaara also comforted Minato, but Minato still felt deeply guilty. Hokage didn't say anything, but he recognized the opponent's strength. Even though Minato has infinite chakra, the transfer of Flying Thunder God is limited after all. Being able to transfer part of the explosion is already a feat of genius. Just when Minato was blaming himself, a hand touched Minato's face. The worry on Minato's face instantly turned to surprise. Naruto. You're awake. Naruto struggled to stand up. He looked at Minato and forced a smile. Dad, it's okay. You have saved so many people. You are a real hero. Hearing his son's comfort, Minato's self-blame eased a little. However, at this moment, Tobirama suddenly realized something was wrong. Where is the monkey? Why is he missing? At this time, everyone was surprised to find that 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was missing. At this time, Uchiha Xiao's voice came from not far away. You're so slow. Did you realize it now? Zibo Xiao looked sarcastic. Naruto yelled, what did you do to Grandpa 3rd generation? Uchiha Xiao replied. Nothing, I just sealed it conveniently. Didn't he shout all day long not to defile the dead? Now, I follow his wishes. No one else expected that Uchiha Xiao would be so bold and directly seal the 3rd generation during the explosion. Isn't he afraid of being besieged by so many Kage-level experts? Tobirama's face was also confused. He was so busy sighing about the power of CO that he didn't notice the disappearance of the big dead man next to him. But there's nothing they can do about it. The chakra caused by Ko's self-destruction fluctuates too much, and they can't sense Uchiha Xiao's approach at all. Damn it! Naruto stood up and rushed towards Uchiha Xiao. However, he was soon grabbed by Minato. At this time, Shikaku also said loudly, Naruto. Follow the command. Shikaku is the resourceful general of Konoha. Now after the death of the 5th generation, he is the absolute commander of Konoha's troops. Naruto had to stop and stared at Uchiha Xiao with resentful eyes. How can we beat this? Uchiha Xiao is simply a devil. At this time, there was a noise from the troops behind him. Several ninjas were kneeling on the ground, covering their heads with their hands and shouting loudly. Hey, you guys, don't worry about it. The captain of the army wanted to persuade the out-of-control ninja, but the ninja's emotions quickly infected the people around him. Yeah, it's impossible to win. A meaningless war. The 5 shadows led us to participate in an impossible war. Bursts of discussion and noise gradually began to sound around, and the expressions of more people began to turn into collapse. Several moviegoers looked at each other, and a word suddenly appeared in their minds. Camp roar. This is a professional term in the military, which means that soldiers suffer from excessive mental stress during a long war and then collapse, which then affects their surroundings. However, one of the conditions for Xiao is the mental stress caused by long-term fighting. But the 4th Ninja War started less than a day ago. In other words, in less than a day, the power displayed by Uchiha Xiao had already brought the ninjas to the verge of collapse. Chapter 168. This is a just war. Please subscribe. As the impact expanded, more people showed signs of despair, and they began to suspect that this war was impossible to win. If it was a tough battle, it would be easy to say. It could even be said that all the ninjas present were prepared to die. But I can't bear it. Uchiha Xiao is too strong. It's so strong that it's hard to breathe and makes people desperate. His methods are simply beyond what ordinary ninjas can contend with. The vast majority of ninjas only feel powerless. Be it Genin Chunin or Jonin, they are all ants in front of Uchiha Xiao. They are all beings that can be trampled to death. In this war, it seems that the ninjas can only lie on the ground, either waiting for the cages to bring them victory, or waiting for Uchiha Xiao to crush them. Under such circumstances, it does not seem to be unpredictable for the ninjas to fall into despair. Uchiha Xiao watched this scene with great interest. He really wanted to see if these ninjas would attack their companions after Yingxiao. If that were the case, it would be quite fun. However, at this moment, a loud voice appeared on the battlefield. Everyone! Naruto's distinctive voice resounded throughout the battlefield, and more than 10,000 ninjas turned their attention to it. Uchiha Xiao really wants to complain. Looking at this attitude, is this boy Naruto going to talk 143 again? Who is he? This child seems to be Konoha's Uzumaki Naruto. Hey, what's the use of a child? The battlefield soon became buzzing with discussion. Some people were curious, some were disdainful, and some were still lowering their heads, sinking into despair. Minato looked at Naruto in surprise, but he didn't choose to stop him. He also wanted to hear what Naruto would say. Naruto didn't speak, letting the noise on the battlefield go. Gradually, the battlefield became silent. They also wanted to hear what Naruto had to say. Naruto looked around. The feeling of being in the spotlight didn't make him nervous as much as he thought. After taking a deep breath, Naruto spoke. My village was the first to be invaded by Uchiha Xiao, and I also lost my companions and friends. Images of countless people flashed through Naruto's mind. Hearing this, all the ninjas had a look of worry on their faces. Ninjas are a dangerous profession, and everyone has died at one time or another. Then Naruto changed the topic and his tone became violent. But do you think we still have a way out? Behind us are the hard work of countless ancestors who have spent decades creating creations. They are our relatives and friends. Do we have to endure Uchiha Xiao's wanton trampling? Listening to Naruto's words, many ninjas secretly clenched their fists. Yes, behind us is our hometown. If we don't fight, who else can fight? Naruto continued to release his mouth release. From his flushed face and bulging veins, it could be seen how hard Naruto was shouting. In this war, our relatives and friends at home are watching us, the people in the village are watching us, and everyone in the ninja world is watching us. In this case, do we really want to give up on ourselves? Naruto's words were very inspiring. Some ninjas were even ashamed of their performance just now. As he spoke, Naruto looked at Uchiha Xiao with determined eyes, opened and closed his mouth, and said, I firmly believe that what we launched was a just war. As Naruto said these words, the surrounding emotions were also ignited. Justice. Justice. Minato looked at Naruto's back, feeling very happy, he couldn't help but think in his heart. Naruto, you will definitely be a qualified Hokage in the future. Hashirama and Tobirama looked at Naruto and also smiled. Uzumaki Naruto is definitely the best inheritor of the will of fire. Hashirama gave a very high evaluation. Onoki laughed loudly. What an incredible boy. My heart, which has been silent for a long time, was touched by him. Terumi Mei showed her charming expression of the past again. A strong-blooded man will always be popular. Gaara showed a gentle smile. Naruto, well done. Uchiha Xiao watched boredly. In his eyes, Naruto's behavior was nothing more than accelerating the death of the ninja coalition. Seeing Naruto's eyes, Uchiha Xiao showed a mocking look. I didn't expect that the 5 major countries that used to fight for resources uglily would also give themselves the name of justice. CBFE, it's so generous and laughable. Quote. Naruto waved his hand. Stop talking nonsense. I'm going to beat you. As he said that, he shook his legs and flew towards Uchiha Xiao. Rasengan. Naruto started with a classic move, calling directly to Uchiha Xiao's face. Uchiha Xiao's body slightly deflected, dodging Naruto's Rasengan. However, Naruto also had a backup move. He quickly spun his body and the second Rasengan appeared in his hand. Rasengan. Uchiha Xiao chuckled and said, You're smart, it's a pity that your strength is too weak. Uchiha Xiao reached out and grabbed Naruto's wrist, then raised his foot and kicked Naruto in the abdomen. Naruto hit the ground hard like a cannonball. Bang! A big hole was made on the ground. However, Naruto was the kind of person who became more courageous as he fought. He immediately got up from the ground and continued to attack Uchiha Xiao. Everyone, come on, support Uzumaki Naruto. All Kage-level experts are dispatched. First Hokage, second Hokage, fourth Hokage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage, Mizukage, all rush forward. Uchiha Xiao said loudly, Well done. He stretched out his arm, and dozens of slender black rods appeared in front of him. Shinra Tenzhang. With the blessing of Shinra Tianzhong, dozens of black rods like bullets rushed towards everyone. Onoki formed a seal with his hands. Earth-style Gangly-style technique. Then a huge rock giant rose up from the ground. This giant had extremely strong defensive power and was a common life-saving method for Onoki. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of black rods pierced the body of the rock giant, but did not penetrate. Uchiha Xiao raised his eyebrows slightly, a good defensive method. A blue figure jumped out from behind the rock giant. Water-style water-severing wave. Tobirama spat out a sharp line of water, and Uchiha Xiao stretched out his arm and directly used Hungry Kido's ability to suck away the water-severing wave. At this moment, two dangerous breaths came from the left and right sides of Uchiha Xiao. Naruto and Hashirama formed a cheese sandwich on Uchiha Xiao, one on the left and the other on the right. Rasengan. The blue chakra ball is close at hand. Punch me. The unique power of the Senju clan means that this punch is extremely powerful. The two of them firmly believe that this move can severely damage Uchiha Xiao, because this is a tactic that Shikaku has formulated before. This tactic has been carefully calculated by him, and the success rate is not low. However, the next second, Wei Liquan and Rasengan suddenly stopped moving, just a short distance away from Uchiha Xiao. How is it possible? Naruto and Hashirama both looked surprised. Everyone was very surprised, because Shikaku had calculated Uchiha Xiao's attack. The interval between Shinra Tenseng's attacks was 5 seconds, and there was also a period of backlash when using Hungry Kido. The plan they adopted was to force out Uchiha Xiao's two moves, and then Tianma and Naruto would launch a fatal blow. However, now, there seems to be a wall of air in front of the two powerful attacks, which makes it impossible for the two of them to go forward. Lu Ju looked at the situation on the field, sweating on his forehead. What is this move? It is not included in my calculations at all. Just listen to Uchiha Xiao slowly speak. Wheel Tomb, Border Prison. Chapter 169. All of us, challenge you alone. Please subscribe. Before Naruto and Hashirama could think about anything, two attacks suddenly appeared out of thin air and hit Naruto and Hashirama. What? Call out. The two figures flew out upside down, but fortunately they were strong enough to stabilize themselves in midair and land safely on the ground. Tobirama came to Hashirama and asked, "Brother, what was that just now?" He was also very confused. He was paying close attention to every move on the battlefield, but he didn't even feel anything about the attack that had just knocked away Naruto and Hashirama. Hashirama said in a deep voice, "I don't know. I didn't see Uchiha Xiao use it when he was alive. It should be Rinnegan's secret technique." Hashirama really felt nothing about the attack just now, whether it was murderous intent or aura, not even the slightest sound of breaking through the air. Uchiha Xiao praised Hashirama. "It's rare that your brain has improved." "You guessed it right, Hashirama. The hell of the wheel is a Rinnegan ability. Unless it is a person who also has a Rinnegan, or someone who controls the power of 6 paths, other people will never be aware of the existence of the shadow." Previously, when Uzumaki Naruto had the power of 6 paths, he could clearly perceive the 4 shadows, but now Naruto has lost the power of 6 paths. It can be said that currently no one in the ninja world is aware of the existence of the Rimbara border prison. There are 4 shadows of Uchiha Xiao in total. 3 of them are protecting Uchiha Xiao in the shape of pin, while the other one is standing not far away, waiting for an opportunity. In terms of close combat, he was already in an invincible position, but now with the shadow of the Rinbana prison, he is definitely invincible in the ninja world. Terumi Mei stepped forward and sprayed out a water dragon. Onoki spit out lime on the side, and soon, an earth dragon whose body turned into lime mud attacked Uchiha Xiao. For this attack, Uchiha Xiao only needs 2 steps. Reach out and absorb. Damn it! Terumi Mei and Onoki looked very ugly, although with 9 tails chakra they could release ninjutsu at will. But every ninjutsu was absorbed by the opponent, and this feeling was really uncomfortable. This is how to do. This puts the group in a difficult position. If they want to attack from a distance, Uchiha Xiao has Kido and can absorb the ninjutsu at will. If they want to fight in close combat, Uchiha Xiao has a strange Rinnegan secret technique and can't get close at all. From this point of view, the war seemed to have entered a dead end, and Uchiha Xiao suddenly became invincible. Uchiha Xiao stood with his hands behind his hands. What's wrong? Isn't the arrogance just now still very arrogant? But at this moment, Naruto spoke. I can feel it a little bit. Several people looked at Naruto in surprise. Naruto continued. Before the ability given by Grandpa's 6 paths disappeared, I could clearly perceive it. I remember that kind of weird existence. There were 4 in total. Hashirama wondered. Then the power given to you by Sage of 6 paths has disappeared, so why can you still feel it? Naruto replied. I don't know either, but just like when this guy stopped, I was still able to escape in time. Everyone quickly guessed that although the power of Naruto's 6 paths was lost, there was still a trace left, so it could not only break through Uchiha Xiao's Yuzu life, but also sense the ring tomb side prison. Uchiha Xiao was also a little surprised. He didn't expect Naruto to be able to sense even the prison on the edge of the tomb. It seems that this guy Hagoromo's trick on you lasted a long time. Uchiha Xiao mocked. Naruto ignored Uchiha Xiao, but whispered to the people around him. However, the perception is very blurry, not as clear as before. When everyone heard this, they felt a little depressed. All the cage-level experts felt a sense of powerlessness in their bodies. They thought that Uchiha Xiao had all the strength before, but they didn't expect that Wheel Prison and Hungry Keto appeared. These shadows have actually become as powerless as other ninjas. Soon, Terumi Mei's intention to quit became even stronger. Kurigakure is currently full of waste and cannot withstand Uchiha Xiao's torment. At this moment, Hashirama stretched out his arm suddenly, pointed at Uchiha Xiao with his finger and shouted, "Xiao! Do you dare to accept your strange ability, and then fight?" Tobirama and others were also confused. "Brother, do you really dare to say this? Have you forgotten the last time you were hung up and beaten?" Uchiha Xiao sneered. "You want to challenge me? Are you so overestimating your capabilities?" However, Hashirama shook his head. "No, it's all of us who challenge you." Quote. Several moviegoers looked at Hashirama. "How on earth did you say this so confidently?" Uchiha Xiao was also speechless by Hashirama's words. "Do you think I'm Madara's loser who can't walk when he sees you? If you don't get up, I'll get up first." With that said, Uchiha Xiao flew forward, and he turned into an afterimage, raising a burst of flying sand on the ground at a very fast speed. "Please give me flowers." Hashirama hurriedly stretched out his fist and aimed it at Uchihana. Boom! Uchiha Xiao's divine power met Hashirama's strange power, and a strong air burst erupted. Hashirama's expression changed and he took several steps back. Tobirama frowned. At that time, Uchiha Xiao's power was only equal to Hashirama, but now it seems that Uchiha Xiao's power has surpassed Hashirama. Whoosh! The flying thunder god Kunai flew quickly, and Minato's figure instantly appeared in front of Uchiha Xiao. However, in the previous battle, Uchiha Xiao had figured out Minato's tricks. After a few rounds, Minato was kicked away by Uchiha Xiao. Hashirama looked indignant and shouted, "In that case, use absolute power to suppress his strange secret technique." As he said that, Hashirama put his hands together, and chakra began to flourish on his body. 0. Except for Tobirama, everyone turned their attention to Hashirama, because there was too much chakra gathered on Hashirama at this time. "Ha!" Hashirama shouted. The soles of his feet suddenly shook, and then a Buddha head broke out of the ground. Wood-style true several thousand hands. 1,000-meter-tall Senju Guanyin suddenly appeared, and for a while, even the sun's rays were covered by it. Seeing this overwhelming scene, the ninja coalition was shocked. What is this? Is this the power of the ninja god? Why is such a powerful technique only used now? The Ninja Alliance don't know Uchiha Xiao's strength, but Hashirama knows, he knows, this is definitely not enough. Terumi Mei said in surprise. Such a powerful technique, maybe there is hope. However, Onoki and Gaara behaved very normally, because they had seen Uchiha Xiao's true several thousand hands before when they fought in Konoha. Uchiha Xiao's true several thousand hands were similar to Hashirama's. However, at this moment, Naruto clapped his hands, since the first Hokage has worked so hard. "Kurama, come on." As he spoke, the golden light on Naruto's body became more lush, and then a ball of golden light suddenly enveloped Naruto, and the golden light began to expand rapidly. Roar! The golden nine tails suddenly appeared, roaring at Uchiha Xiao, and the airwaves it aroused blew Uchiha Xiao's hair into chaos. Chapter 170. Susanoo, Flame Pillar God. Please subscribe. Onoki and Gaara's eyes flashed. If this is the case, maybe it can be done. Although Nine Tails is already a giant in the eyes of ninjas, it is just like a toy in front of true several thousand hands. However, after all, this is the strongest among the tailed beasts, and releasing the tailed beast bomb can also provide a lot of help to Hashirama. Uchiha Xiao smiled. "Since you want to play so much, I will play with you." As he said that, he clasped his hands together. Soon, a true several thousand hands that was as high as Hashirama's true several thousand hands appeared. Fourth Hokage and Terumi Mei looked shocked. As soon as the two true several thousand hands came out, it would be no exaggeration to say that the sky was covered and the sun and the moon were eclipsed. The ninjas were originally very surprised when they saw Hashirama's true several thousand hands, but after seeing Uchiha Xiao also summoning one, they couldn't hold back in an instant. "Here, how can we fight like this? Damn it, is today, June 13th, the day I broke down and sank into the sand." Call out. Nine Tails fired a tailed beast bomb, and the tailed beast bomb hit Uchiha Xiao's true several thousand hands. Apart from peeling off a painless piece of wood on the surface, it did nothing. Call. True several thousand hands. At this moment, a red chakra began to spread from Uchiha Xiao, spreading over the entire true several thousand hands. Hashirama's face was solemn. The last time it was because Uchiha Xiao used Susanoo to trap true several thousand hands, and then with the absolute combat power of 2 and 2, he split Hashirama's true several thousand hands in half with 10 swords. Tobirama ran and flew to the head of Nine Tails, and said to Naruto inside, "Don't carry out meaningless attacks, you go around behind Uchiha Xiao and attack Uchiha Xiao's Buddha's hand." Tobirama's idea is very simple, just go behind Uchiha Xiao's Senju, eliminate as many Buddha's hands as possible, and put as little pressure on Hashirama as possible. Boil-style Dachao mist technique. Terumi Mei took a deep breath, and a large amount of corrosive gas spurted out from her mouth, heading straight for the Thousand Arms. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. Dust escape original stripping technique. Sand-bound. Tailed beast bomb. Countless ninjutsu hit Senju's back. Under the continuous bombardment, a large number of Buddha's hands fell from Senju's back and hit the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Many ninjas with better ninjutsu were also running quickly. They came behind Uchiha Xiao's true several thousand hands and released ninjutsu after another. Although the power was not high, they couldn't stand it. Feeling that the Buddha's hands on his body are getting older and smaller, the true several thousand hands have evolved into the Shinsu 100 hands. Uchiha Xiao controls the Senju to turn to the back. Immediately, all the ninjas dispersed. At this moment, looking at Uchiha Xiao with his back exposed, Hashirama launched an attack shamelessly. Become a Buddha on top. As the rumbling sound sounded, Uchiha Xiao's Senju made a dense roar, and the Susanoo's armor continued to flash red. Watching Hashirama press down and beat Uchiha Xiao, the ninja allies who had been suppressed for a long time burst into cheers. Great. Well done. Come on first, Hokage. If not, they might have opened the champagne in advance. Okay, let's play like this. Uchiha Xiao's expression was indifferent, making it difficult to tell whether he was happy or angry. Uchiha Xiao closed his eyes and recalled his life, when Reina was not dead yet. At that time, because of Uchiha Xiao's existence, Hashirama swept Ninsei with him early. Although the three of them were friends at the time, Uchiha Xiao was so strong that he could easily defeat Hashirama or Madara. After every duel, Uchiha Xiao would show a low-key smile and leave indifferently. The so-called invisible pretense is the most deadly, that's it. You know, strong people have always been unconvinced. Under this mentality, Hashirama and Modara, who were originally somewhat hostile to each other, actually joined forces. In the subsequent duel, the combined power of the two surpassed Uchiha Xiao, and Uchiha Xiao was defeated by the two of them for the first time. Uchiha Xiao was also competitive at the time, so in order to cope with the combined technique of the two, Uchiha Xiao developed her own Susanoo. Eventually, he mastered the art of applying fire style to Susanoo. But soon after that, Reina passed away, and he never had the chance to use this technique. Even before his death, he had no intention of using this technique when facing Madara, Hashirama and other ninjas from the ninja world. Because in that situation, using that technique was of little use, and after Reina died, Uchiha Xiao also felt a little bit like destroying himself. He was very calm in the face of death. Now, since God allows him to live again, then he will live again. Fight for his ideal once more. Uchiha Xiao opened his eyes. Finally, this technique can finally come in handy. Fire power equipment. Hashirama was attacking continuously, but then, his heart skipped a beat, and he felt a very hot breath from Susanoo. Is it an illusion? Just when Hashirama was confused. However, the next scene told him that this was not an illusion. A ball of flame suddenly appeared in Susanoo's hands, and then the flames in her hands began to spread throughout Susanoo's body. Hoo. The blazing flames burned horribly, coating the already extremely red Susanoo with an indescribable haki. If there is a god in hell, it is probably like this. Uchiha Xiao felt the heat under her feet and murmured, "The Lord Susanooan." Hashirama's eyes were splitting. He had never seen this technique before, and he never thought that Uchiha Xiao could develop Susanoo to this extent. For ordinary Uchiha people, the complete form of Susanoo is already the limit of this technique, and no one will make a fuss about Susanoo at all. The inner evaluation of Uchiha Xiao among the ninjas below has been refreshed. True several thousand hands put on Susan, and Susan put on flame. What's the matter? Where are you leaving this Matryoshka? Just when Hashirama was upset, Uchiha Xiao's words drifted into his ears. Hashirama, do you remember? In order to defeat me, you and Madara teamed up regardless of past grudges, which made me so angry. Hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, Hashirama also recalled the scene at that time. He couldn't help but laugh 2.0 times. Although you were just as stinky back then as you are now, you were much cuter than you are now. Universe Bo Xiao showed a faint smile. Then do you know when I developed this technique? Hashirama was originally thinking outside the box, so when he said this, he became curious. When? Uchiha Xiao replied. After being defeated by the two of you, I was very unconvinced, so I developed this technique. Hashirama rubbed his chin, smiled and made a humming sound. Humph, I didn't expect that you, the kid, would sometimes refuse to admit defeat, but why did you? Why haven't you used it? Hashirama was stunned for a moment and nodded. At this time, he also noticed that the smile on Uchiha Xiao's face disappeared. Because not long after that, Ling died. Amid the whirring sound of the flames, Uchiha Xiao's words were clearly audible. Chapter 171. The compassionate Buddha also has angry eyes. Please subscribe. Listening to Uchiha Xiao's words, the smile on Hashirama's face suddenly froze. At this time, Uchiha Xiao's voice continued to appear. Abandon your illusions, Hashirama, this is my last piece of advice to you. The light in Hashirama's eyes dimmed, and he looked at Uchiha Xiao. The high-temperature flames distorted the space, making it difficult for him to see Uchiha Xiao's expression clearly. He finally knew why Uchiha Xiao didn't use Flame Pillar God at that time. After Reina's death, the relationship between Uchiha Xiao and Hashirama quickly dropped to a freezing point. He didn't use the Flame Pillar God during his lifetime because he didn't want to admit that they were friends. And he is using the Flame Pillar God now simply because the opponent is an enemy. Hashirama's almost drooped head slowly raised up. Is that so? I understand. Let me, a former friend, cut off the last friendship. The next second, Hashirama's true several thousand hands made a loud noise, and then everyone clearly saw that the appearance of true several thousand hands had changed dramatically. The color that was originally very dull became very bright, with a strong sense of vitality and gentleness spreading out, and the aura of holiness was clearly revealed. Even the tightly closed eyes on Guanyan's face, which did not look at the world, opened at this time, with a hint of golden white light in their eyes. And Uchiha Xiao saw deep anger in those wooden eyes, which he had never felt in Hashirama. Haha, the compassionate Buddha also has his angry eyes. A smile appeared on Uchiha Xiao's face. He knew that in the battle outside the village, Hashirama did not use all his strength at all because Hashirama still had a trace of illusion in his heart. He imagined that he was still Uchiha Xiao's good friend, and that Uchiha Xiao would change his mind because of their old friendship. But Uchiha Xiao used the Flame Pillar God and told him his inner feelings in order to let Hashirama know. The fragile friendship between us was broken the moment Reina died. They are no longer friends now, they are enemies. Under the cruel reality, Hashirama, who values friendship, probably struggled thousands of times in his mind. In the end, he chose to manually cut off his former friendship with Uchiha. After Hashirama gave up his illusions and was extremely frustrated, he seemed to have exploded like the Uchiha people. The ninjas who were originally disappointed because of the Flame Pillar God couldn't help but cheer up when they saw that Hashirama could actually do Matryoshka dolls. As expected of the god of ninja. Destroy Shura in the ninja world. It is our duty. The faces of the cage also looked better, but Tobirama was the only one who looked serious. Others are not sure and think that Hashirama already knows this trick. But Tobirama knew that his eldest brother had never experienced this move before and must have just awakened. As for the reason for the awakening, Tobirama guessed that the two must have been talking about something above, which led to Hashirama's sudden outburst. Although this Senju was more holy and brighter, Tobirama felt unprecedented anger and killing intent from this Senju. Brother. Tobirama looked at the very holy true several thousand hands and became worried. High in the sky, Hashirama and Uchiha Xiao stared at each other. In front of the holy Buddha statue, Uchiha Xiao's true several thousand hands with flames and whiskers were really like a ghost from hell. Come on, Hashirama, Uchiha Xiao shouted. If it were normal times, Hashirama would definitely say, Xiao. I'm going to get F***ked. However, at this time, his face was determined and cold. In his heart, the friend named Uchiha Xiao was already dead. In front of you, this is an enemy named Uchiha Xiao. Facing the enemy, Hashirama will not show mercy. Senju raised his fist, and a golden white light shone on his fist. However, this light was not dazzling, but made people feel very soft. Transcend the world. Uchiha Xiao also controls Susanoo Senju to deliver a punch. Boom. In an instant, the thick clouds in the sky stirred for a while, and then swayed away instantly. Even on the ground, a strong wind blew at this time. A group of ninjas looked at this scene. If they hadn't known it beforehand, they would never have thought it was two ninjas fighting. Everyone is practicing ninjutsu, why are you driving Gundam? After the punch, the Senju behind the Buddha statue were also ready to move. They emitted soft white light and aimed at Uchiha Xiao's Susanoo Senju. Great mercy Senju. Uchiha Xiao was not far behind. The chakra on his body was consumed rapidly, and his 1,000 red hands were burning with thick flames. Become a Buddha on top. Soon, the two waves of attacks collided, and in an instant, bursts of fire and white light erupted from the two. It was as if countless missiles were exploding in the sky, and the rumbling sound was still clear even 10 kilometers away. Boom. Under the great impact, the remains of the Buddha statues were continuously sputtered, and they were burning with flames among the ninja coalition. Suddenly, hundreds more ninjas died. Shikaku used chakra to amplify his voice. Strategic retreat. Quick, quick. Although after Naruto's encouragement, many ninjas were ready to scare Kong to death. But this does not include dying on the falling debris. In this way, they would rather be killed instantly by Uchiha Xiao than be smashed to death for no reason. Uchiha Xiao looked at Susanoo under his feet. Half of the outer layer of flames had fallen away. The fully formed Susanoo with extremely strong defense was also vulnerable at this time. If he resists a few more punches from true several thousand hands, his Susanoo will probably be broken directly. Hashirama's true several thousand hands are far more powerful than the one he used last time, though. That's all. Uchiha Xiao controls Susanoo to pull out. Onikiri, 040, boom. Onikiri swung out a sword energy. On the way, the sword energy turned into two and slashed at true several thousand hands' arms one after another. Quote exclamation mark quote. Although I don't know what ability Hashirama used to suddenly become stronger, but he didn't become so strong that Uchiha Xiao had no choice but to do anything. The two-sword energy directly chopped off True several thousand hands' two arms into the sky. Uchiha Xiao controlled Susanoo to step forward quickly. He formed seals with his hands, and at the same time, Susanoo's hands also began to form seals. Seal. Heavenly defying magic formation. A dense technique appeared on Susan's hand. He controlled Susan and reached out to grab Hashirama. Brother. Tobirama shouted anxiously below, but because he had no hands, it was difficult for Shinsu Chinman to resist. Seeing that Uchiha Xiao is about to seal Hashirama. First Hokage. A shout appeared from below, and the sound became louder and louder. Hashirama looked over and saw a golden nine tails climbing up Hashirama's True several thousand hands. Relying on its sharp nails, it quickly reached the shoulders of True several thousand hands. Naruto. Nine tails opened its mouth wide, and the tailed beast bomb it had already contained was instantly ejected. Tailed beast bomb. Controlling nine tails to shoot a tailed beast bomb, the tailed beast bomb hit Susanoo's hand directly. After the violent explosion, the hand was blown up directly, and the spell disappeared instantly. Chapter 172 Feng Ying, Die. Although one hand was blown up, the hand holding the onikiri was not. Susanoo placed the sword horizontally on the left, and then slashed it out. Crash. The Buddha's head, which symbolizes compassion, was cut off directly. The enhanced version of True several thousand hands was just a flash in the pan after all. In other words, facing Uchiha Xiao, no matter how powerful the technique was, it could only be said to be a flash in the pan. Hashirama, who was standing on the Buddha's head, also fell on nine tails. Thanks, Naruto. Hashirama thanked him. If it weren't for Naruto, he would have been sealed just now. It's a joke. Hold on tight, I'm going down. With that said, Naruto controlled nine tails to return to the ground level. True several thousand hands loses its caster, as if a person has lost its brain. True several thousand hands kneels on the ground with both legs, and then lies straight down on the ground. The fall of True several thousand hands was no less than a huge explosion. The ninjas who had long been far away from there also felt the vibration in the ground. Not even the god of ninja. It looks like I'm really going to die here. After experiencing so many shocking sensory stimulations, they could no longer express any horrified sighs. What was left was only full of regret and loneliness. Anyway, they have committed their lives to this battlefield, so just die. If they die, everything will be in vain. With their ordinary ninja strength, no one will impure the world to reincarnate them. On the other side of the battlefield, looking at Naruto and Hashirama escaping, Uchiha Xiao also released control of True several thousand hands without hesitation. Who? He stood in Susanoo. In his full form, Susanoo had a pair of huge wings. With the blessing of the wings, he quickly caught up with nine tails. Nine tails turned around, and one-tailed beast bomb roared towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao controlled Susan and dodged all the tailed beast bombs. When a tailed beast bomb came close, he raised his onikiri and struck it down, and the tailed beast bomb exploded directly. Seeing that the distance was getting closer, Uchiha Xiao formed a seal with his hands. Triple Rashomon. The next second, three huge iron doors fell from the sky, blocking Naruto's front and left and right craftsmen. The three antique doors exuded a gloomy aura of death, and even Nine Tails in his body felt a chill. Rashomon blocks the front and left and right directions, and the only exit is at the back. However, behind is Uchiha Xiao who is coming. Susanoo slashed with her sword without hesitation. Bang W backquote. A huge wooden shield suddenly appeared. Onikiri slashed at the shield but failed to break it. Yoshi. Hashirama smiled, delighted with his successful defense. At this time, Naruto suddenly thought of something and shouted, "No. First generation. There's more." Hashirama looked confused. What else? What do you mean? I didn't feel any fluctuations. However, at this moment, Hashirama's pupils opened, and a sword energy suddenly appeared out of thin air, hitting him straight. This distance didn't give him any time to clap his hands and shout whatever he wanted. Boom. Hashirama was directly knocked away by the sword energy, and Hin Tensai's body was also separated into two halves. Naruto was shocked, it was this weird ability again. Seeing that one combat force was missing, Naruto controlled Nine Tails and struggled, trying to escape. Facing this scene, Uchiha Xiao raised his hand and slashed the golden Nine Tails with a knife. Roar. Nine Tails in Naruto's inner world let out a cry of pain. This kind of pain went straight to the soul, which made Nine Tails, who had not been injured for a long time, cry out. Kurama, are you okay? Naruto asked hurriedly. The onikiri was deeply embedded in Nine Tails' body, and then Uchiha increased the power of the onikiki. Ba, roar. The onikiri penetrated deeply into Nine Tails' body, and Nine Tails let out bursts of wailing. At the same time, the Nine Tails pull on Naruto's body began to dissipate, probably because of the severe pain. Kurama. Naruto had already regarded Nine Tails as a friend. Hearing his friend's wailing, he was very anxious. However, at this time, a voice came from Nine Tails. Boy. Next to you. Leave me alone. At the same time, Uchiha Xiao's voice appeared in Naruto's ears. You still have time to worry about it, Naruto. Then he strangled Naruto's neck with one hand, and stabbed a black rod directly into Naruto's body with the other hand. When Minato in the distance saw that Naruto was in danger, he instantly activated Flying Thunder God and rushed over. Minato came, but Uchiha Xiao had an expression on his face that I didn't expect. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Namikaze Minato. Uchiha Xiao showed an evil smile. He had anticipated Minato's arrival, so he was prepared early. Bah, 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 several black rods suddenly appeared and were inserted into Minato's body. Dad, Naruto shouted anxiously. Minato looked at the several black rods on his body. He didn't pay much attention to it. He stretched out his hand to touch Naruto's body, and then a thought came to his mind. Flying Thunder God technique. However, Minato discovered that he could not activate Flying Thunder God. Haha, you are so eager to save your son that you forgot. Under the black stick, your chakra is no longer your chakra. After saying this, Feng Zibo Xiao raised his fist. Bang! With one punch, Minato flew out. After rolling several times on the ground, Minato managed to stabilize his body. He touched the black stick on his body with his trembling hands. If you want, you have to take the black stick out quickly. Grabbing Naruto's neck, Uchiha Xiao raised him high, just as he was about to absorb Naruto's Ninetales chakra. At this moment, a sharp spear turned from yellow sand struck quickly. Faced with this, Uchiha Xiao just stretched out his hand, Shinra Tensang. The impact force directly scattered the yellow sand. Gaara's figure appeared. I don't allow you to hurt Naruto. Uchiha Xiao stretched out his hand and arm bones glowing red appeared, and he grabbed Gaara. Gaara. Susanna pinched Gaara, who showed pain. Uchiha Xiao showed a disdainful smile. When I call you Cage, do you really think you have the strength of a shadow? Not only is Gaara not strong enough, but his attack methods are mostly long range, and melee combat is his weakness. Even so, he still dared to be so close to Uchiha Xiao, for which Uchiha Xiao could only say one thing. Big courage. Uchiha Xiao slowly increased the strength of Susan's hand bones. Gaara's expression was very painful, and yellow sand kept jumping on his body, and the sand continued to flow out from the gaps in the hand bones. Die. Uchiha Xiao's cold voice sounded. Puff. Blood mixed with sand splashed out from Susan's hand. Gaara's eyes widened, as if he didn't believe that he could die so easily. Ha! Gaara's body fell to the ground, and the sand all over his body was soaked in blood and solidified, looking extremely dirty. The shadow of a village simply died in such a mess. Gaara. No, it's impossible. Naruto's eyes widened, anger and unwillingness welling up in his heart. Uchiha Xiao looked at Naruto helplessly. You guys are really noisy. Throw Naruto on the ground and insert a few black rods according to his acupuncture points to restrict his chakra development. Although the black rods are easy to use, they cannot last long in the face of the majestic Ninetales chakra. However, Uchiha Xiao was not prepared to control Naruto. After all, he only needed Naruto's Ninetales chakra. Gedo Statue. Chapter 173. The nine-tailed beasts have been captured. Please subscribe. The tall and evil statue suddenly appeared, and Uchiha Xiao formed a seal with his hands. Sieve. A purple chakra dragon surged into Naruto's body, and soon, a trace of red floated out of Naruto's body, and then entered Gedo Statue's mouth. Minato used a lot of effort to send out the second-to-last black stick on his body. He looked up and saw red chakra flowing continuously towards Gedo Statue. Maybe it was the connection between father and son, but he felt the deep pain in Naruto's heart. Minato yelled at Naruto. Naruto. The last black rod was still stuck in his body, and the chaotic chakra made it impossible for him to concentrate, but he still ignored it and rushed towards Naruto. In Naruto's spiritual world, the iron cage has long been opened, and Ninetales' body is turning into wisps of chakra and disappearing. It raised its head as it shouted. Naruto. However, at this time, Naruto could no longer give any reply. Outside, Naruto's 7 orifices were bleeding with red chakra, which looked extremely terrifying. Uchiha Xiao murmured. As expected of Ninetales, the time to absorb chakra is slow. Other tailed beasts can absorb it in a short time, but Ninetales, as the existence with the most chakra among the tailed beasts, has only absorbed half of it after several minutes. Others want to rush over. 627 But Uchiha Xiao only needs to release the ring graveside prison, and without Naruto's perception ability, he is almost invincible. Hashirama summoned the wooden golem, trying to use its powerful force to stop Uchiha Lien. Susanoo. Uchiha Xiao's wood clone used Susanoo to confront Hashirama. Hashirama frowned, and he attacked desperately, but this wood clone was very flexible, and it was clear that he wanted to delay time. Uchiha Xiao stared at Gedo Statue. Soon, the absorption of Gedo Statue stopped, and there seemed to be a satisfied expression on his face. Naruto. At this time, Namikaze Minato rushed over. He shouted anxiously and threw a kunai at Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao opened the kunai, then grabbed Naruto and threw it to Minato. Uchiha Xiao looked at Minato and said with a smile, "It's better to be a little slower, it seems that the yellow flash is really in vain." Minato hurriedly hugged Naruto's body, and then ignored Uchiha Xiao and checked whether Naruto was still alive. At this moment, Minato's face showed joy. Still alive. At this time, Tianjian and Onoki also rushed over. The good news is, Naruto is still alive. The bad news, CBAC, is that Nine Tails is gone. Everyone looked at Uchiha Xiao warily. They still didn't know why Uchiha Xiao wanted to collect all 9 tails. There is also the 10 tails statue that exudes an evil aura. It is obvious at a glance that this thing is not a good thing, but everyone has almost zero information about it. Uchiha Xiao was slightly shocked when she learned that Naruto was still alive. Normally, if Jinchuriki lost the tailed beast, he would die directly. Perhaps due to the protection of the remaining power of 6 paths, Naruto was still hanging on to his life. But Uchiha Xiao didn't want to worry about it anymore. After all, 9 tails had been obtained, and there was no threat to him whether Naruto died or not. Bang! Gedo Statue turned into a white smoke and dispersed. Su! A sharp water line flew towards him. Uchiha Xiao rolled to avoid it and stood at the highest point. Seeing that the attack failed, Tobirama snorted coldly. It seems that I won this battle. Uchiha Xiao looked down at everyone, feeling the resentful eyes of everyone below. Uchiha Xiao said calmly, "Everyone, we'll see you soon." Afterwards, Uchiha Xiao turned into an afterimage and used the body flicker technique to leave the battlefield. As soon as Uchiha Xiao left, all the ninjas seemed to have a heavy burden lifted off them. This devil is finally coming. But, didn't he say, "See you later"? Then we'll talk about it later. Even though many ninjas did not contribute much and just stood on the battlefield to watch the big show, the shock and pressure that Uchiha Xiao's strength brought to everyone still made them sweat profusely and feel stressed. The medical team quickly swarmed over Naruto and Gaara. Naruto was just about to die, but still hanging there with a breath. Under the treatment of the medical team, Naruto's life was saved. In this regard, Minato breathed a sigh of relief. Naruto was his son, and he naturally did not want to see his young son die in front of him. However, there is a completely different atmosphere on the other side. Gaara was crushed to death by Uchiha Xiao, so his death was extremely tragic. Gaara. No, it's impossible. Our relationship has finally improved, how could it be? Temari knelt down next to Gaara's body, looking at Gaara's wide eyes, she couldn't help but shed tears. Kankuro also stared blankly, his eyes were red, and it could be seen that his heart was not as peaceful as he appeared on the outside. A group of Sand Shinobi ninjas also gathered around and burst into tears. They are not only sad about Shadow's death, but also sad about Sunagaku's future. After this battle, there were not many strong men left in Sunagaku. Gaara's death almost cast a thicker shadow over the entire Sunagaku. To put it bluntly, the current Sunagaku may not even be able to beat Rain Shinobi village. On the other side, Uchiha Xiao has returned to the village. As soon as they entered the mansion, Sasuke and the other 3 looked at Uchiha Xiao. Seeing Uchiha Xiao's relaxed expression, as if he had just come back from a walk outside, the 3 of them knew that Uchiha Xiao must have won the battle. Although he made up his mind to follow Tsunade, Shizune still had a look of loneliness on his face when he learned that Uchiha Xiao had won. Hey, Xiao, 9 tails, have you captured it? Sasuke looked unconcerned, but his eyes kept glancing at Uchiha Lien. Uchiha Xiao looked at him and said calmly, "Have you ever seen failure in me?" Hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, Sasuke's eyes suddenly opened. Although his expression soon returned to calm, the slightly trembling pupils still gave him away. Obviously, Sasuke, a young man with a reputation for being upright, was still very much in control of Naruto's life and death. Uchiha Xiao chuckled. It's a pity that Uzumaki Naruto is not dead. He is such a lucky boy. Quote exclamation mark quote. Sasuke suddenly turned his head to look at Uchiha Xiao, and then quickly turned his head back. That's it. That's really a pity, I'm going to practice first. Sasuke said and was about to leave. The observant Uchiha Xiao still saw the smile on the corner of Sasuke's mouth, but he was too lazy to care about it. Anyway, Sasuke's final fate had been decided by him. Shizune watched this scene, walked up to Tsunade and whispered, "Sasuke is pretty cute like this now." Tsunade was speechless for a while. "Don't leave in a hurry yet," Uchiha Xiao said. Sasuke turned his head in confusion. "You've been clamoring to become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, haven't you? Now, here's your chance." When Sasuke heard this, an excited smile gradually appeared on his face. He was so excited that he even opened the Mangekyō Sharingan. Fortunately, since Naruto is not dead, he still has a chance to defeat Naruto. Chapter 174. Sasuke's Inner Demon. Please subscribe. Summoning Technique Gedo Statue. The tall Gedo Statue appeared in the courtyard, but the Gedo Statue now is very different from just now. It seems that because of the gathering of the 9-tailed beasts, it exudes a strange aura. The resentment of the 9-tailed beasts and the chakra are mixed and intermingled as you look. Evil, crazy, powerful, desperate. Countless words appeared in the minds of several people, but these words were not good words. Tsunade and Shizune frowned. Their characters naturally felt unhappy when they saw Gedo Statue. Sasuke looked at this scene, and the excitement he was originally filled with was a little reduced at this time. After all, the aura exuded by this Gedo statue was too evil. Sasuke, who had always longed for power, felt a little scared. However, this emotion quickly disappeared, and the demon Gedo statue was still releasing very powerful pressure. As long as he can gain powerful power, he will accept it regardless of whether he is evil or not, even the evil ghosts in hell. Thinking like this, Sasuke looked at Uchiha Xiao with his bloodshot eyes. Xiao. Let's start. Tsunade tilted his head slightly and whispered in Shizune's ear, go and inform the villagers to flee from this place. I feel that something is wrong with this statue and the field distribution. Shizune nodded heavily, then stepped out. As soon as Shizune went out, he found that many villagers outside were already packing up their belongings and preparing to flee. The villagers are not stupid. The aura of this Gedo statue is really terrifying. If you don't leave, you may be close to death. When the villagers saw Shizune coming out, they greeted him respectfully. Shizune-sama. Shizune felt a little guilty in his heart. Not only did they occupy this place, but now they also forced the villagers to flee their hometown. Shizune also felt very good. She took out a scroll and then a box from inside. Mr. Village Chief, this is for you. Shizune took the box over. When the village chief took it, he found that the box was very heavy. Master Shizune, what is this? The village chief said with a little fear. It's money. I'm sorry to make you leave your hometown. Shizune had an embarrassed look on his face. All the money was earned by Tsunade last time. Because after winning the money, he was immediately caught by Uchiha Xiao, so the money was never used. There was hundreds of millions of taels in it. The village was flattered. This isn't appropriate. Shizune just put the box there and returned to the mansion without looking back. The village chief took the box and wanted to pass, but when he felt the terrifying aura of Gedo statue, he could only take a few steps back. Finally, he sighed and walked away with the villagers. Outside the village, he took one last look at the village where he had lived for many years. Thank you, Shizune-sama. The village chief murmured. Thank you, Mr. Xiao, the village chief said in his heart. Uchiha Xiao looked outside the village. You evacuated everyone. Shizune said warily. What's wrong? Are you going to do any horrible experiments on them? Uchiha Xiao shook his head. I'm not as pervert as Orochimaru. The aura of Gedo statue was so majestic and terrifying that not only the surrounding area, but also the entire ninja world felt the cold chakra that was mixed with resentment. All the shadows were looking at one place, where Uchiha Xiao was. What an evil chakra. Hashirama crossed his arms and looked very grim. Tobirama looked at Hashirama, and he felt that his elder brother had become a little different. Naruto woke up at this time, and everyone around him looked at Naruto worriedly. Opening his eyes with difficulty, Naruto covered his stomach with his hands. Kurama. But he never heard that manic, conceited fox cry again. Minato hugged Naruto. Naruto, you're fine. Naruto's eyes revealed endless loneliness. Dad, Kurama, it's gone. For Naruto, Kurama is not only one of his few friends, but also the only one who can defeat Uchiha Xiao. Now that Kurama is gone, Naruto instantly feels that he has become a loner, and his previous heroic words have turned into bubbles at this moment. Minato didn't know how to comfort Naruto at this time, so he could only keep stroking Naruto's back. Fourth Hokage, it seems we have to go there. That must be where Uchiha Xiao is. First generation looked there and said. Naruto struggled to stand up and said to Minato, Dad, I'll go with you. Minato looked at Naruto in surprise. Don't force yourself, Naruto. Naruto forced a smile, gave a thumbs up and said, it's okay. I still have Sage Mode, and I think Sasuke will be there too. Please give me flowers. At this time, Sasuke is sitting cross-legged on the ground, and the chakra of Gedo statue is being absorbed by Sasuke continuously. Uchiha Xiao's expression was indifferent, but there was still a hint of excitement in his heart. Brother, where are we going to play today? Reina's voice came to mind again, and Uchiha Xiao clenched her fists. Reina, wait for me, I will rescue you soon. Tsunade-sama, I gave all the money you won to the village chief, don't you blame me. Shizune feels a little guilty, after all, she killed first and then played. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then smiled. It's okay Shizune, I haven't won much money anyway, it's almost the same as not. The former Tsunade would have been furious, but now Tsunade no longer has that desire. Shizune was relieved to hear that Tsunade didn't blame her. Tsunade looked at Sasuke for a while, then moved his gaze to Uchiha Xiao. What is this man thinking about now? As time went by, Sasuke's appearance began to change. His hair began to turn white, followed by his skin, which became less human-like and pale, and he also exuded a strange aura. Sasuke lowered his head and his body continued to tremble. Many memories appeared in his mind. The short but extremely happy days in Konoha were spent bickering with Naruto and doing tasks every day, and then getting rid of little Sakura's entanglements, and then practicing silently. At this moment, Sasuke found himself in an environment surrounded by white light, with two people standing in front of him, little Sakura and Naruto. Naruto stretched out his hand to him. Sasuke, come here quickly. Little Sakura also had a smile on her face. Sasuke-kun, what are you doing? At this time, there was a sound coming from the side. Sasuke looked to his side and saw Kakashi, who was leisurely reading a book. Seeing Sasuke looking over, Kakashi closed the book and said lazily, "What's wrong? Are you worried about something?" Sasuke looked around, and his manic and revengeful heart instantly dissipated a lot. Naruto showed an impatient face. "Hey, Sasuke, do you still want me to carry you?" Sasuke smiled and was about to say something harsh to Naruto when suddenly everyone around him disappeared. Just as Sasuke was looking around, the surrounding environment changed to the Uchiha clan land on the night of the genocide. Chapter 175, 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Please subscribe. Looking at the clan members being slaughtered around him, Sasuke shouted, "No, again." The blood of his tribe was soaked in his heart, and his heart, which had just finally dissipated, was instantly filled with hatred. Even though he had been baptized by Uchiha Xiao's illusion, he still couldn't keep calm when faced with this scene again. At this time, he discovered that it was not Uchiha Itachi who massacred his people, but a group of Konoha shinobi, led by the third generation and Danzo, enjoying the fun of killing. Seeing this scene, Sasuke's eyes were filled with tears and he clenched his fists. A low growl escaped his throat. Konoha, Tsunade and the two were watching the scene in front of them in amazement, because the huge Gedo statue suddenly began to deform, as if it was being absorbed by Sasuke. And Sasuke's figure was quickly hidden by the huge Gedo statue. Soon, Gedo statue was swallowed by 767, and a huge white sphere appeared in front of him. Uchiha Xiao looked at this scene. He was still somewhat familiar with this scene. Obito also looked like this when he became 10 Tails Jinchuriki. The next second, cracks suddenly appeared in the huge sphere. Click. A pale arm stretched out from it, and then, more and more cracks appeared on the surface of the sphere, and eventually they all exploded. His skin turned a very light green, something like snake scales grew on his body, and two horn-like things slightly protruded on both sides of his forehead. There were spike-like things growing out of the shoulders and back, with clusters of magenta-colored flames hovering above them, which looked really beautiful. At the same time, several dark truth-seeking balls were circling behind them like a planet. Tsunade and Shizune felt a strong sense of dread in their hearts as they looked at those truth-seeking balls. Sasuke looked at his hands. This is me. Yes, that's me. Feeling the vigorous chakra and power in his body, Sasuke felt extremely happy. He didn't care at all about the strange appearance he had become. If he was strong enough, he would not hesitate to become a demon in hell. At this time, he found that he was holding a long black tin stick. Even this ordinary-looking tin stick seemed to contain infinite power. Sasuke took the tin stick and couldn't help but knock it on the ground. Boom. With a slight click, a ferocious spider web-like crack appeared on the ground instantly. Ha 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 ha. Sasuke covered his face with one hand, and scarlet blood appeared in the gaps between his fingers. Konoha, I'm coming. However, at this moment, a voice interrupted his actions. Sasuke, you can't leave. You promised me to summon the sacred tree. Uchiha Xiao took a few steps forward without showing the slightest fear on his face. Shut up. Sasuke shouted dissatisfied. When he opened his eyes, the 6 paths fire on his back began to grow. The next second, the surrounding houses began to collapse, and even the ground shook violently, opening several deep cracks. Boom. Not only here, but the entire village collapsed because of Sasuke's small move. All the houses collapsed, and this small and medium-sized village was completely reduced to nothing. People who didn't know thought that a huge earthquake had occurred here. Tsunade and Shizune looked around in surprise. They didn't expect Sasuke to cause so much damage in an instant. The destructive power at this speed seems to be weaker than Uchiha Xiao. Tsunade and Shizune looked at Uchiha Xiao, wondering what Uchiha Xiao would do. However, Uchiha Xiao remained unmoved and continued to look at Sasuke with cold eyes. I don't want to say it a third time, summon the sacred tree. Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke raised his brows with a very arrogant expression. Do you think you are qualified to order me? If you want to stop me from destroying Konoha, then I don't mind trying my new ability here. Uchiha Xiao was a little speechless. Sasuke's mouth was full of Xiao sarcasm, which made Uchiha Xiao feel a little confused. Facing Sasuke's words, Uchiha Xiao shook his head, his expression so indifferent that even Sasuke was a little confused. Whether Konoha is destroyed or not has little to do with me, but you don't really think that I let you become 10 Tails Jinchuriki for free, do you? Uchiha Xiao's words are very clear. You Uchiha Sasuke can't just leave like this. Sasuke actually knew from the beginning that Uchiha Xiao must have some purpose, but now. Sasuke looked Uchiha Xiao up and down. He felt that his strength had surpassed Uchiha Xiao. Xiao, don't force me to kill you, I am invincible now. After hearing this, Uchiha Xiao said calmly, it seems that your personality is not suitable for this strength. Saying that, before Sasuke could ask anything, Uchiha Xiao formed a hand seal with his hands. For a moment, Sasuke found that his body was starting to lose control. Panic climbed onto Sasuke's light green face. What did you do? Xiao. Uchiha Xiao just replied calmly. I just asked you to fulfill the promise between us. Uchiha Xiao knew Sasuke's character very well, so he was forbidden in Sasuke's eyes very early on. Just like the caged bird of the Hyuga clan, or a forbidden curse that is more powerful than the caged bird, the person who is planted with the forbidden curse will have to obey the orders of the caster. This is also why this curse seal was designated as a forbidden curse by the Uchiha clan. After all, the Uchiha clan is not as extreme as the Hyuga clan. Soon, under the control of Uchiha Xiao, Sasuke quickly formed seals with his hands, and then he fell to his knees in pain. Immediately afterwards, a huge crack suddenly opened in the ground, and then a huge tree root twisted and climbed up like a snake. What is this? Tsunade and Shizune kept looking upward, and slowly raised their heads. I saw that the sacred tree continued to climb, at a very fast speed, and soon reached a height of 1,000 meters, even exceeding the height of Shinsu used by Baojibo Xiao. However, this was not over yet. When the two thought it was over, the sacred tree was still rising. Finally, it reached a value that neither of them could estimate. The tall sacred tree is so majestic that at first glance, you can even involuntarily feel a sense of sacredness in your heart. Uchiha Xiao slowly said, this is the sacred tree, the ancestor of chakra. Tsunade and Shizune 3.0 were very surprised. Didn't they say that the ancestor of chakra was sage of six paths? It was a tree. Although it was unbelievable, they believed that Uchiha Xiao did not lie to them. Tsunade looked at Uchiha Xiao with a puzzled expression. Why did you summon the sacred tree? 2,000 years ago, Otsutsuki Kagaya, the mother of Sage of Six Paths, summoned the sacred tree and ate the fruit of the sacred tree, and eventually became the first person on the planet to possess chakra. Uchiha Xiao did not hide anything, telling stories Wei answered. Shizune became fascinated as she listened. Even people who studied history didn't know about this kind of thing. But now she could know such an ancient story, and she felt very excited. Tsunade didn't show much, but he noticed a word Uchiha Lien said. On this planet? Tsunade asked in confusion. Uchiha Xiao did not answer Tsunade, but showed a meaningful smile. Chapter 176. Finally surpassed Naruto. Please subscribe. Tsunade was used to Uchiha Xiao's Riddler persona, but she still heard a key word. Do you want the fruit of the sacred tree? Uchiha Xiao snapped his fingers. That's right. It seems that your grandfather's IQ didn't affect you much. You were much smarter than him. Hearing this, Tsunade did not defend her grandfather as usual, but her cheeks turned red and she stopped talking. Uchiha Xiao didn't care so much. He looked at the sacred tree with ardent eyes. There was a huge tree bag at the top of the tree. The tree bag was bulging and contained the legendary sacred tree fruit. Uchiha Xiao raised his eyebrows. He was lucky. The fruit of the sacred tree bears fruit once every 1,000 years, and now, it is exactly 5 minutes before the fruit of the sacred tree appears. Uchiha Xiao showed a crazy expression. As long as he eats the fruit of the sacred tree, everything in the world will be no problem. Sasuke struggled to get up from the ground. He was not interested in the sacred tree at all. What he wanted to do most now was to destroy Konoha. Sasuke looked at Uchiha Xiao. The arrogance in his eyes was gone. There's nothing you want me to do now, right? He was afraid that Uchiha Xiao would control him again, which would be uncomfortable. I still like your unruly look just now. Uchiha Xiao looked at Sasuke. You don't have to go there. Sasuke frowned. Didn't we agree that everything would be fine after summoning this sacred tree? Why don't we go there? Sasuke seemed very anxious about not being able to achieve his goal. Uchiha Xiao waved his hand. I mean, you don't have to bother to go there. Not only Konoha, but all ninjas in the ninja world are here. If you have any revenge, just avenge it here. Sasuke was slightly stunned when he heard Uchiha Xiao's words. He has now transformed into Six Paths mode, and his perception ability is different from the past. After hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, he immediately spread his perception. The ninja coalition rushed over quickly, and when they saw this tall sacred tree, they couldn't help but tremble. Hashirama's complexion didn't look better either. The height of this sacred tree was visually estimated to be over 10,000 meters. This is already higher than any mountain range in the world. If this is wood style, it means that Uchiha Xiao's wood style attainments have surpassed him, which is not a good message. But at this moment, Naruto suddenly remembered something and said quickly, I know. This is the sacred tree. Sacred tree. The powerful people around me looked at me and I looked at you, but they didn't know what the so-called sacred tree was. Seeing everyone's confused expressions, Naruto quickly said, this is what Grandpa Six Paths told me. Lu Ju frowned and said, if you have information, tell it earlier. Why wait until now? Naruto was a little innocent. This is what Grandpa Six Paths told me just now. Just when I was about to die. I only recovered now when I saw the sacred tree. Everyone was dumbfounded. They all thought that Naruto was able to survive with his own will. Unexpectedly, Sage of Six Paths actually took action. Naruto continued. Grandpa Six Paths said that this sacred tree will give birth to a fruit, and Uchiha Xiao's purpose is to eat this fruit. Fruit? It seems like he can't eat it. Lu Ju said. Although I don't know what will happen if Uchiha Xiao eats the fruit, but as long as there is something detrimental to Uchiha Xiao, everyone is happy to do it. Soon, the ninja coalition got closer and closer to the sacred tree, and the ruined village came into view. Uchiha Xiao is indeed a vicious person, but he doesn't even spare ordinary people. As expected of the most evil Uchiha, the ninjas started discussions one after another, and they became even more disgusted with the image of Uchiha Xiao. Soon, the ninjas increased their speed and quickly surrounded the dilapidated village. A group of cage-level experts ran in first. Everyone came to the foot of the sacred tree, and soon, the scene in front of them shocked them. Uchiha Xiao stood on the ground, with Tsunade and Shizune standing beside him. However, what attracts everyone's attention the most is Uchiha Sasuke floating in the air. This is Uchiha Sasuke. Terumi May asked, why did it become like this? The strength has also increased a lot compared to before. Feeling Sasuke's aura, Onoki said cautiously. Sasuke's appearance is indeed very eye-catching, and some people believe him even if he is said to be an alien. Sasuke was slightly startled when he saw the person coming. He was shocked by the strength of second Hokage and first Hokage before, and felt that he would never be able to catch up with that kind of strength in his life. Then, Sasuke also looked to the side, and Terumi and Onoki appeared in front of them with traces of battle. A total of 5 cage-level experts. Sasuke smiled. Right, such a lineup can match the change in my strength. At this moment, Sasuke looked around, and then said dissatisfiedly, where's that guy Kakashi? Didn't he always say that he would take me back? How come he doesn't see anyone else now? At this time, Naruto walked out from behind Minato. Sasuke gave a sneer. Naruto. However, Naruto's performance was not as loud as Sasuke expected, and Naruto's calm expression showed a hint of worry. Naruto looked into Sasuke's eyes. Kakashi-sensei, he is dead. Hearing these words, Sasuke's pupils shrank immediately, and then he said, so what? This is the world of ninjas, the weak will die. Naruto then said, little Sakura is also dead, class 7, only the 2 of us are left. There was a trace of struggle in Sasuke's eyes, and some warm and bright memories flashed through his heart, but soon, these memories were replaced by the tragedy of the night of genocide. It goes without saying Naruto, I have made up my mind. Do you think you can still stop me with your strength? Sasuke said arrogantly. In the past 2 months, he knew that Naruto's strength was constantly disappearing, and now I'm afraid it has disappeared. It's over. Naruto didn't speak, his expression was very solemn, and Sasuke showed a look of understanding. Naruto is no longer qualified to be his opponent. In other words, he has finally surpassed Naruto. A cheerful smile appeared on Sasuke's face, which seemed almost crazy to outsiders. After laughing wildly, Sasuke picked up the 6 Paths tin staff in his hand and pointed it at the first Hokage. Then let me defeat the god of ninja. Prove to the world that my strength is at the top of the ninja world. Sasuke's words were very arrogant. Tobirama frowned. This inherently evil Uchiha brat looks just like Izuna, and is countless times more evil than Izuna. At this time, Tobirama found that he seemed to be prejudiced against Uchiha again. He looked at Hashirama with a guilty conscience, but he found that Hashirama rarely refuted him. At this time, Hashirama spoke. Tobirama, Sister Yongdai, be careful not to be touched by that tin staff. My intuition tells me that even the body of Impure World Reincarnation can be defeated by it. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. As expected of the legendary ninja god, my tin staff can deal damage that directly hits the soul. Just pray that you don't get touched by it. Chapter 177. Lightning Style Kilin. Please subscribe. After I deal with you, I will destroy Konoha. Sasuke said loudly. His voice was decisive, and he seemed to be very sure that he would destroy Konoha. You kid. You're so arrogant. Tobirama couldn't stand it anymore. Why is this Uchiha Sasuke even crazier than Uchiha Xiao? Water style water severing wave. Tobirama took the lead in attacking, and the sharp water line rushed towards Sasuke. With a thought in Sasuke's mind, the 6 Paths fairy fire on his shoulders began to flow, turning into the shape of a palm and blocking it in front of him. Bah! The water line hit the 6 Paths fairy fire, but it had no impact on the 6 Paths fairy fire, not even water vapor. An arrogant smile seemed to be embedded on Sasuke's face. With this smile, Sasuke said, Second Hokage, is this the only level? Tobirama's face became uncomfortable. Since the beginning of the 4th Ninja War, he has not been able to show any outstanding achievements, which is somewhat embarrassing. Seeing the battle starting, Uchiha Xiao crossed his legs and used the Rinnegan's power to float into the air. After all, it would take 5 minutes to wait for the sacred tree to blossom and bear fruit, so he simply floated in the air and watched the battle. Stop being so arrogant, young man. Onoki formed a square dust escape and then threw it towards Sasuke. The other cage also launched attacks one after another, using wind style, water style, fire style, and countless ninjutsu combined to attack Sasuke. Sasuke didn't panic at all, he smiled arrogantly and waved gently. The truth-seeking ball hovering on his back appeared in front of Sasuke. Sasuke slowly said, Go. The truth-seeking ball turned into a black afterimage and quickly hit these powerful ninjutsu. Are you looking down on us? Use a small black ball to block our offensive. However, they underestimated the power of the truth-seeking ball. All ninjutsu seemed to have encountered a natural enemy when facing the truth-seeking ball, and suddenly they all collapsed. The speed of the ball was not hindered at all, but was galloping towards them. Disperse. The speed of the shadows was pretty good, and they were dozens of meters away in a blink of an eye. The truth-seeking ball fell into the open space. The small ball was spinning on the ground, showing no threat at all. However, at this moment, the truth-seeking ball emitted white light. The next second, the light became stronger and finally caused a shocking explosion. The scope of the explosion expanded rapidly, and the shadows quickly moved back. The ninjas were extremely afraid. If they had just been in front, they might have been swallowed up by the explosion without their shadows' movement speed. Everyone was very surprised that that small ball actually had such a strong ability, and there were several such small balls hovering behind Sasuke. Even if Uchiha Xiao is strong, when did Uchiha Sasuke become so strong? A group of Kage swarmed up and launched a physical attack on Sasuke. In fact, their strategy is right. Most ninjutsu are completely useless to Ten Tails Jinchuriki. They can only use taijutsu or senjutsu. Although there was no problem with their strategy, they underestimated Sasuke's taijutsu, especially with the blessing of Ten Tails Jinchuriki. His speed and power were greatly improved. Crack crack. The sound of fighting echoed around. Sasuke punched, Tsurumi was sent flying by the punch, and then kicked, Onoki was also kicked away. These two people do not have Grandmaster Teishu to begin with, so it is normal for them to be knocked away at this moment. The best performer is Namikaze Minato. His flying thunder god is flying up and down and is extremely tricky. Although Sasuke's strength has greatly improved, he still doesn't have a lot of combat experience, and it is also the first time for him to face a flying thunder god. Thunder god is a ninjutsu. Under the continuous attacks, Minato hit Sasuke solidly several times, but as mentioned before, the bonus of Ten Tails Jinchuriki is too exaggerated, and Sasuke's defensive ability is also very good. The skin was like scales, and even a kunai scratch on it could only leave a white mark. Snapped. Minato's kick was assisted by Sasuke, but it did not cause any damage. Sasuke was about to stab him with a tin stick. Minato immediately activated Flying Thunder God and appeared above Sasuke's head. He kicked Sasuke hard on the neck. For an ordinary ninja, Minato's kick would have broken his neck. However, Sasuke showed a ferocious smile, grabbed Minato's foot, shook it for a while, and threw it away. Against that defense, Minato's attacks were like scraping. Naruto quickly caught Minato, and the huge force even caused Naruto's feet to plow 2 deep ravines on the ground. Thank you, Naruto. Minato thanked his son. Onoki felt the pain in his body and stood up slowly. This young man, he barely kicked my waist in half. Onoki didn't want to experience the feeling of back pain again. Naruto doesn't have the power of Yang now. Tsurumi also held her injured arm and said dissatisfiedly, "You are so merciless in treating ladies." Onoki squeezed his hands. It would be great if Raikage was here. Uchiha Sasuke's physical skills are still not as good as Raikage's. The two of them might be able to fight. Whoosh! A gust of wind blew by, and when I looked closely, I saw Hashirama running towards Sasuke with a terrifying aura on his body. With a thought in Sasuke's mind, a fireball erupted from his mouth and hit Hashirama. Hashirama did not dodge, raised his fist, and used his strange strength to punch the fireball away. Despite this, Sasuke still looked happy. He did not expect that with the bonus of 10 Tails Jinchuriki, he could achieve instant casting for most of the tricks. He just had a thought about the fireball, and the flames were already gathering in his throat. Hashirama jumped up high and pointed his sandbag-sized fist at Sasuke. Even 10 Tails Jinchuriki would not feel comfortable if he swallowed Hashirama's strange power. Sasuke gathered chakra, opened his mouth, and several fierce and ferocious fire dragons flew towards Hashirama. Hoo! Several more fire dragons shot out quickly, but Hashirama didn't block it. The fire dragon hit Hashirama's body directly. The fire flashed across Hashirama, and a charred wooden pile fell to the ground. Wood clone can be said to be the strongest clone technique. This clone is so concealed that even Sharingan can evade it. After Sasuke saw the wooden stake, he immediately wanted to leave, but the ground suddenly cracked and first generation emerged from the soil, stretched out his hands and locked Sasuke directly from behind. I caught you. Hashirama laughed heartily. Seeing this scene, everyone was immediately happy. Minato also stepped forward and raised his hand to use the sealing technique to cure Sasuke. Rumble. The dull thunder echoed through the sky. Jiao Jiao. Uchiha Xiao looked up at the sky and murmured, "Oh, this is the trick." Among the dark clouds, the light of thunder and lightning appeared faintly, accompanied by the rumbling sound of the can. Sasuke smiled, moved his fingers slightly, and a flash of blue lightning appeared on the fingertips. At this time, Minato had just prepared the sealing technique. Hashirama quickly sensed the danger coming. His hair stood on end and he immediately warned, "Run away." It turns out that the fire dragons just now have not disappeared, and a wood clone will not dissipate them. The fire dragon disappears into the clouds, causing the air in the sky to heat up rapidly, creating an upward airflow, which in turn creates cumulonimbus clouds, and finally the cumulonimbus clouds generate thunder and lightning, and then Sasuke can use the Chidori to conduct electricity. Sasuke said, "It's too late." A straight bolt of lightning struck in front of him, and then, a giant unicorn beast composed of thunder and lightning quickly descended on the ground. Lightning-style Kirin. Boom. Chapter 178. Ancient Maga Bow of Heaven. Please subscribe. Minato used the Flying Thunder God to quickly escape the lightning-style Kirin's attack, but Hashirama's speed was not that fast. The powerful thunder directly chopped Hashirama's body into pieces. The unicorn hit the ground and soon burst into dazzling lightning. Wisps of electricity escaped in the air, and then slowly disappeared. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Xiao couldn't help but admire it. The bonus of 10 Tails Jinchuriki is indeed good. In the anime, Sasuke took a long time to prepare the Kirin, but here, Sasuke almost uses it as an ninjutsu. Hashirama's fragmented body began to combine and slowly formed a human body, but Sasuke would not give him this time. He picked up the tin stick and stabbed Senju Hashirama, who was putting his body together. Water-style iron cannonball. A huge water bomb came towards him. Sasuke waved his hand calmly and scattered the water bomb. At this moment, a blue figure suddenly appeared. Tobirama picked up the half-formed eldest brother and quickly flew back with Flying Thunder God. Looking at Tobirama scurrying around, Sasuke made a dissatisfied voice. "Shout, it's as annoying as a fly." Tobirama returned to the shadows. At this time, Hashirama in his arms completed his body assembly. "Brother, are you okay?" Ma asked Hashirama. Hashirama pointed at his waist with his 667 hand, and saw a deep gap there. Normally Impure World Reincarnation's body would replenish the body, but now it was touched by the Six Paths Tin Staff, and now it cannot be restored for a long time. It seems that what this child said is true. We need to use the tin stick properly. Hashirama said warily. Tobirama also nodded heavily after hearing this. Looking at the 10,000-meter sacred tree, Uchiha Xiao who was watching a show, and Sasuke who was high-spirited. Onoki and Terumi May sighed deeply. In such a battle, these so-called shadows can't even intervene. Now they are just like ordinary ninjas, they can only watch the show here. Good. Hashirama made a strong voice, and several people looked sideways. I saw Hashirama saying, "Since you don't know what to do, then just rush over with all your strength." After saying that, Hashirama took a deep breath. The next second, Hashirama's eyes narrowed, and black stripes began to appear on his face, and then he clapped his hands hard. Wood-style true several thousand hands. 1,000-meter-high Senju Guanyin rises from the ground, with holy light and angry eyes. This true several thousand hands is an enhanced version of the previous one. Finally come. Sasuke looked at the tall and towering true several thousand hands. He was very happy. He was very happy that he was not like before, even when he looked at the true several thousand hands from a distance, he was trembling all over. The huge palm waved towards Sasuke, but Sasuke avoided it. At the same time, with a thought, a purple Susanoo appeared. Full form. Sasuke yelled. Then the purple Susanoo began to raise her body, and then reached the height of true several thousand hands. In this regard, Sasuke once again lamented the power of 10 Tails Jinchuriki in his heart. Before, he could only maintain the full form of Susan for a few minutes, and the height was only 1 or 200 meters. And now, not only is it very easy, the height is also very easy to reach true several thousand hands. Come on, young man. Hashirama shouted. True several thousand hands punched. Susanoo was not afraid and stretched out her purple fist. Boom. Fist to fist, in an instant, a strong burst of air suddenly exploded, and the clothes of the people below were blown away by the wind. Transcend the world. Hashirama controlled Senju to punch, the punch shone with strong vitality and chakra, and Sasuke's eyes glowed red. Inferno-style flame control. The flames of Amaterasu turned into the shape of a shield and condensed in front of Susanoo. Boom. A small crack appeared on Susanoo's body, but Hashirama's moves were far less than this. Great mercy Senju. I saw those 1,000 huge wooden arms emitting white light. Even looking at it from a distance, I felt full of intimidation. 1,000 arms quickly aimed at Sasuke, and in the next second, they were like dense missiles CBBF hitting Sasuke. Boom. Bursts of explosions resounded throughout the sky, and bursts of smoke and white light erupted from Susanoo's body. After one set of attacks, Hashirama stopped attacking, and all those 1,000 giant arms poured onto Susanoo's body. Senju Hashirama, you are very strong. Sasuke's voice emerged from the smoke. The smoke slowly dissipated, and I saw that Sasuke's Susanoo was in tatters, and even the light was dimmer than before. But, I am 10 Tails Jinchuriki. As he spoke, the chakra on Sasuke's body began to gather. Soon, the originally tattered Susanoo began to slowly recover, and the purple light gradually brightened. Hashirama's face was serious. He originally wanted to use absolute power to break Sasuke's Susanoo, then control Sasuke, and then Minato came over to seal it. But obviously, he failed to complete the first step. Just then, Sasuke said again. You're done fighting, then it's my turn. Sasuke smiled arrogantly, and then the chakra on his body began to consume rapidly. Before, He would have collapsed in less than a minute at this speed of consuming chakra, but Sasuke now feels that if he consumes chakra at this speed, it will be no problem if he consumes it all night long. Feeling Susanoo's increasingly majestic momentum, Hashirama's expression was very wary. Call. A dull sound sounded, and Susan's hands were emitted with a burst of purple light. The ancient bow of Maga from heaven. The next second, a purple bow condensed in Susanoo's hand. Looking at that bow, Hashirama felt as threatening as Uchiha Xiao's Onikiri. Sasuke controlled Susanoo's bow and drew the arrow. Then, the black Amaterasu fire leapt on the arrow, and then clusters of lightning appeared on the arrow. Under the superposition of various buffs, the momentum of this arrow even made Uchiha Xiao look sideways. Go! Sasuke shouted, and the next second, the bow and arrow shot out quickly, hitting Hashirama who was standing on the head of Guanyin. Boom! A brilliant stream of fire burst out from Guanyin's head, and a huge wound appeared on his head. The huge impact caused the giant Guanyin to fall backwards. Soon, the giant Guanyin fell heavily to the ground. In an instant, the earth shattered and the mountains collapsed. The arrow that caused this situation was far from over. The arrow passed directly through Guanyin's head and shot towards the ninja coalition behind. The arrow dragged on the ground for a while. In the process, hundreds of ninjas were burned to death by the Amaterasu on the arrow and blown to death by the airflow carried by the arrow. The huge ninja coalition force was torn open with a ferocious gash. The gash was like a wound, filled with the blood of the ninja coalition force. Boom! Finally, this powerful arrow exploded, and purple light mixed with lightning shot straight into the sky. This explosion took away the lives of more than 1,000 ninjas. Chapter 179. One generation is not as good as the other. This arrow directly took away more than 2,000 ninjas. For a while, there were wailing sounds all around, and the medical team had to get busy again. Hashirama's figure fell to the ground half kneeling, his face revealing a deep sense of powerlessness. Damn it, if I had known I would have used ranking technique to defend myself. This should have reduced a lot of casualties. Tobirama stepped forward and comforted. Brother, it's okay. It's just that Uchiha Xiao is too cunning. I don't know what tricks he used to make Uchiha Sasuke so strong. As a ninjutsu inventor, Tobirama doesn't even know what method Uchiha Xiao used, which is really a headache. Minato looked at Naruto next to him. Naruto had kept his eyes closed since just now, not knowing what he was doing. However, this made Minato relax. He was afraid that Naruto would go up and fight him regardless. Now that Naruto has lost the power of 6 paths and 9 tails, only Sage Mode is left, and his experience has dropped to the ordinary Kage level. Degree. Hashirama looked at the smiling Uchiha Xiao and frowned. Has Orochimaru's support not arrived yet? Tobirama calculated the time. It should be soon. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a commotion in the distance. Yes, it's second Tsuchikage, Master Wu. It's Lord Third Raikage. And second Mizukage, Light Genjutsu Tenjin. Rasa, why isn't it the third Kage? It's bad luck. I just saw Konoha's past shadows, and now our shadows are here too. Although there was something strange mixed in, the originally demoralized ninjas burst into cheers, and the melancholy atmosphere suddenly dissipated. Wu is a person with a personality very similar to Orochimaru. He doesn't like this kind of scene where people crowd the streets to welcome him, so he doesn't pay much attention to it. But third Raikage and second Mizukage were very outgoing. They looked happy and stretched out their hands to shake hands with the ninjas. However, Luo Sha was very confused. He remembered that he was still highly respected before his death. Why did the ninjas in his village now dislike him? After struggling for a while, everyone who was Zuotu still knew that the battle situation was tense, and soon came to the foot of the sacred tree. Third Raikage. It can just make up for our weak physical skills, Onoki sighed as he looked at the few people who came. Although there are not many people who come from the dirt, they are all Kage-level strong men, including second Mizukage Ghost Light Genzuki, second Tsuchikage Wu, third Raikage I, and Uchiha Itachi. Third Raikage looked around and saw the body of fourth Raikage. Oh, war. Third Raikage, who has always had a violent personality, seems to have become much quieter than before because he died once. He looked at Uchiha Xiao in the air and narrowed his eyes. When Ghost Lantern saw Terumi Mei, his tone was quite relaxed. You are still alive. Which generation of Mizukage are you? You don't seem to be very strong. Although he has never met Terumi Mei, he can feel that Terumi Mei is today's Mizukage. Terumi Mei suddenly looked ashamed. My daughter is the 5th Mizukage, I am so ashamed. Second Mizukage Sama. What Onite Kanzuki is telling the truth is that he is not only Grandmaster of Water Style, but also Grandmaster of Genjutsu and Taijutsu. Compared to Terumi Mei who is only good at ninjutsu, Onite Kanjutsu is indeed the all-powerful ninjutsu phantom. Ghost Lantern Yu waved her hand. Although each generation is not as good as the previous one, it's not easy for you either. Onoki, you are still alive, you are already so old. Wu couldn't help but sigh when he saw Onoki, who was so scheming. Teacher. Thanks to the teacher's teachings, I can live such a long life in various wars and crises. Onoki immediately straightened his back regardless of his injured body. Wu looked at Onoki and said lightly, and your height, it's really a pity that you haven't grown up in so many years. Listening to Wu's words, Onoki was embarrassed, but he had no resentment or anger at all. Wu's strength also exceeds that of Onoki. Wu can do what Onoki can do, and Wu can do what Onoki can't do. Moreover, Dust Release was also developed by second Tsuchikage. Even in terms of resourcefulness, Wu also has the title of the Resourceful General. Compared with Wu, Onoki is indeed inferior, and only one age can compare with Wu. Luo Sha looked around. Where is the Wind Shadow? The Wind Shadow is gone. Hearing this, Onoki and Terumi Mei both had dull expressions on their faces. Gaara, he died to save Naruto. Luo Sha heard this and had a question mark on her face. Isn't Gaara a killing machine? How could he become the Cage? And with that kind of personality, he can actually save people. It should be the same name, right? Although Rasa was defeated by Yakushi Kabuto and Kimimaro with great frustration, his own strength was not weak. With his sand gold ninjutsu, he was able to suppress one-tail Shukaku. As for Gaara, without Shukaku, the quality of his sand is weaker than placer gold, let alone that. From this point of view, regardless of the existence of Naruto and Sasuke, from the perspective of the development of the entire ninja world, it seems that one generation is really inferior to the other. Please give me flowers. 0. Sasuke. Itachi looked at Sasuke floating in the air with an arrogant face, and felt infinite hesitation in his heart. Perhaps, he should not have arranged the way forward for Sasuke so arbitrarily at that time, otherwise, Sasuke would not be like this now. Itachi. Sasuke also saw Itachi, and he felt a little complicated. At the beginning, when Itachi was still alive, although Sasuke knew the truth, he still wanted to defeat Itachi with his own hands, and then personally avenge the Uchiha clan. But now that Itachi is dead, he doesn't know how to face Itachi. The place quickly became lively, and Uchiha Xiao naturally noticed it. After all, these cages were all the best in the 5 great ninja villages. He looked at these shadows and said boringly. 0. Well, you are a bastard. Orochimaru is also struggling to his death. In Uchiha Xiao's eyes, these cage-level experts are no different from genin. At most, they just take a little longer. Uchiha Xiao, who understands the plot, naturally knows their strength and tricks. These people are not as good as Senju Hashirama, so it is difficult for Uchiha Xiao to be interested. However, with such people, I'm afraid Sasuke will also have a hard time. After all, Sasuke has just acquired a new ability, is not proficient in it, and has insufficient combat experience. In addition, although Sasuke has become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, he is still a step away from the level of 6 paths. The newly arrived Kage are not only immortal, but also have unlimited chakra. This is really a big challenge for Sasuke. Sasuke also felt the powerful aura and strong hostility, but he was not frightened. After all, he just defeated Senju Hashirama. Facing these cages, what is there to be afraid of? The shadows below also knew the information and situation. Wu looked at the superior Uchiha Xiao, the bandage on his mouth moved up and down. Uchiha Xiao, the most dangerous ninja and Shura in the ninja world, I never thought that one day I would fight with him. What? Are you scared of Bandage Man? Ghost Lantern Wanyu raised her eyebrows and spoke to Wu. Ghost Lantern Wanyu and Wu have always been enemies, so every word he speaks is directly sarcastic. If you have the ability, challenge Uchiha Xiao to a duel, okay. Mustache, Wuya quickly retorted. At this time, Hashirama took a step forward. Okay everyone, let's stop the bickering. Let's solve the trouble first. Chapter 180. Sasuke's Impure World Reincarnation. Please subscribe. Sasuke was a little unhappy because he found that everyone was looking at Uchiha Xiao, and they just looked at him and then turned away. This made him very unhappy, as his strength had greatly increased. Now, I am the strongest one on the field. Why are you always looking at Uchiha Xiao? Ghost Lantern looked at Sasuke. You mean to get rid of this freak first, right? To be honest, he looks uglier than you, Bandage Man. Wu stretched out his arms. Then let me deal with him. The next second, a shining white light appeared between his hands. Dust Escape Original Stripping Technique. A cone-shaped dust escape was quickly shot out. It was indeed Onoki's teacher. The dust escape he shot was stronger than Onoki's. Yamato was quick. Sasuke's blood-red eyes widened and he shouted. Too slow, too slow. Then he turned into an afterimage and quickly dodged Chen Dun's attack, Master 00. Wu's eyes changed rapidly, because he found that Sasuke's figure was missing. According to the usual analysis of the battle situation, combined with this boy's age, he should appear here. Thinking like this, Wu quickly turned around and fired a dust bolt not far away. Boom. Chengdu exploded directly, and the affected ground revealed a very smooth and flat mark, and where the white light disappeared, a purple giant came into view. Sasuke's expression was very uncalm. If he hadn't reacted quickly just now, he might have died directly under Wu's Chenden. He looked at Wu cautiously, and the pride he felt just now disappeared in an instant. Onoki saw that he almost killed Sasuke, and said with joy, he is indeed a teacher with the title of the Resourceful General. He is indeed amazing. Wu ignored Onoki and continued to pay attention to Sasuke with his eyes, his agile mind spinning rapidly. Whoosh! Sasuke turned into a gust of wind, and the next second, Sasuke appeared above Wu. Wu's expression was very indifferent, he stretched out his hand, and the arm made of rocks was in front of him. It was obvious that even though Sasuke was very fast, he also expected that Sasuke would attack next. Where? Boom! A heavy punch hit the rock fist, and instantly, the rock fell into pieces. Even though Wu was quick thinking and had all his tricks figured out, he still didn't predict the strength of Ten Tails Jinchuriki well, and Sasuke's defense breach was not within Shang's expectation. Sasuke quickly stretched out his tin staff. The Six Paths tin staff could completely destroy Impure World Reincarnation's body. Tetsuru, who was exchanging information with others just now, also knew this. The moment he saw the tin staff, Wu quickly used the ultra-light rock technique to fly away, but Sasuke was so fast that Wu could not escape from Sasuke's attack range. Water Cannon Technique. Ghost Lantern Yu took action in time. He made a pistol gesture with his hand, and then water balls condensed on his fingertips and were launched. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The water ball hit Sasuke like a bullet. The water ball was so powerful that it even made a sharp sound when it was shot at high speed. In response, Sasuke had to put down his attack, and then dodge the water iron cannon from Ghost Lantern. Without taking advantage of Sasuke's time to pay attention to him, the chakra on his body began to mobilize rapidly. Dustless Confusion. This is a powerful invisibility technique that Wu has mastered. It has the terrifying invisibility ability that makes people unable to perceive chakra. Wu relies on this ability to be called No One. Even Sasuke was a little panicked at first, because even Sharingan could catch Wu's figure, but soon, Sasuke relied on Ten Tails Jinchuriki's perception ability to sense Wu's existence. Chidori Ryu. Almost instantly, blue electric light spread across Sasuke's palm, and then the electric current rushed towards an open space. Earth-style Gangly style technique. None unleashes a rock giant. Boom. Chidori hit the rock giant, and instantly, the rock giant collapsed. Onoki shed a little cold sweat. After all, Gosei technique was his absolute defense, but unexpectedly, it was broken by Sasuke's Chidori style. Fortunately, although Chidori shattered the rock giant, it did not cause any penetration. Wu's expression also became serious. Sasuke's strength cannot be underestimated. Ghost Lantern Yu said with a smile. Bandage Man, do you need me to join the battle? Wu glanced at him. You can do it if you want, I won't force you. Gui Deng Wanyu laughed. In fact, Gui Deng Wanyu himself was a war madman. Even the way he died was in a joyful battle. For this way of death, Gui Deng Wanyu said that he had no regrets. Laughing, Gui Lan Wanyu raised his arms, making the shape of pistols with both hands. Water Cannon Technique Strafing. Like a machine gun, dense water bullets roared towards Sasuke. Sasuke snorted coldly, and the Six Paths Fairy Fire on his body began to be mobilized. The fairy fire turned into the shape of a shield and directly blocked all the water bombs. Seeing this, Ghost Lantern Wanyu couldn't help but curl his lips. The water iron cannon has always had the advantage of breaking defenses, but it was obviously very inadequate against Sasuke's Six Paths Fairy Fire water cannon. After blocking the attack, Sasuke also quickly launched a counterattack. The Six Paths Fairy Fire on his shoulders was activated again. The next second, the already cracked ground continued to collapse. The group of people staggered and their steps became unsteady. At this moment, a huge platform made of placer gold lifted everyone up and away from the collapsing earth. Rasa quickly waved her raised hands forward, and shot Sasuke with bullets composed of placer gold. Sasuke didn't avoid it, his throat felt hot, and then, strong flames spurted out of his mouth. Sage Art Fire and Fire. This flame is completely different from the ordinary fire style. Its color is purple, its momentum and speed are very huge, and it arrives in front of people in 10 seconds. Everyone's expressions changed. The power and speed of this fire style were so fast that they didn't even expect it. Water style Water Barrier. Tobirama and Terumi reacted quickly and released 2 water blasts in front of them. Soon, the water barrier began to deform, and then white water vapor began to evaporate. Just when everyone thought it was over. Boom. A burst of purple light suddenly shone, followed by a violent explosion. Sasuke had a sneer on his face. This was his fire style that combined 4.3 magic and 10 tails chakra. How could the ordinary water style be as good as the others? All the Impure World reincarnations were naturally fine, but Terumi, who had just rushed in front, felt uncomfortable. The strong explosion directly sent her flying backwards, and her body was also badly damaged by the explosion. Seeing Terumi flying backwards, Sasuke raised his fist and flew over, with such amazing speed that no one had time to stop him. Boom. A frightening crash sounded. Terumi fell to the ground, barely holding herself up. She looked ahead in shock. Hashirama appeared in front of Sasuke at some point and blocked Sasuke's attack with his palm. For a moment, a strong shock wave burst out carrying the airflow, and the hard ground cracked instantly. That's enough. Sasuke. Hashirama caught Sasuke's fist and looked at Sasuke with a serious look on his face. Chapter 181. Your strength is given by me. Please subscribe. Sasuke sneered in his heart. What qualifications does a defeated general of yours have to teach me? Sasuke increased his power. He is now 10 tails Jinchuriki. He is very powerful. Tremble under my power. God of Ninja. After a while, he found to his embarrassment that Hashirama's figure remained motionless, and his palms did not even tremble. You guy. Sasuke gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with disbelief. Did he remember that he had defeated Hashirama just now? How could it be like this? Sasuke, think about Naruto and the village, I don't want to hurt you. Hashirama said harshly with a dull voice. Tobirama glanced at Hashirama helplessly. He originally thought that his eldest brother was no longer so ideal. It seemed that his change was only for Uchiha Xiao. Hashirama still has great trust in other Uchiha people. However, when Sasuke heard Hashirama's words, he instantly understood why Hashirama was suddenly so strong. It turned out that Hashirama had put some water in the battle just now. Sasuke gritted his teeth. He was so angry that Hashirama actually lost his temper when he fought with him. Hashirama saw Sasuke's 21 angry expression and secretly shook his head, and then chakra began to gather on his fist. Sasuke, I will definitely take you back to the village. As he said this, Hashirama punched out with all his strength. Senju fluid technique. Strange power punch. Boom. A fierce punch was thrown out. Although Sasuke defended himself, he was still knocked away by the punch. Sasuke was shocked when he was knocked away. Hashirama's power was too great. Even as a 10 tails Jinchuriki, his strength was still not as strong as Hashirama's. Hashirama looked at Sasuke with some confusion in his eyes. In fact, when Hashirama just beat Sasuke, he was a little arrogant. After all, he is a man who can easily crush the 9-tailed beasts. Although a 10 tails Jinchuriki is strong, it will not make Hashirama unable to defeat him. But Hashirama knew that Sasuke was someone Naruto valued very much, which made Hashirama a little confused. Naruto's experience is very similar to his. They both want their friends to change their minds, but they can't get the result. Looking at Sasuke, the figures of Uchiha Xiao and Uchiha Madara overlapped with Sasuke. Uchiha Xiao can no longer be saved. In Hashirama's eyes, Uchiha Xiao is already an enemy, but what about Sasuke? Hashirama thought in his heart, there must be hope for Sasuke to change his mind. Sasuke looked at Hashirama's increasingly determined eyes and felt a tingle in his heart. Why is this ninja god as difficult as Naruto? And he also speaks in an arrogant manner. Just when Sasuke wanted to activate Susanoo again and have another battle with Hashirama. Uchiha Xiao jumped down from the sky. That's enough Sasuke, please step back first. He patted Sasuke on the shoulder and motioned for Sasuke to step back. Your strength is still not enough to defeat these people. Uchiha Xiao told the truth. Sasuke looked dissatisfied. What did you say? Xiao, are you questioning my strength? You are just a Rinnegan master, how can you say that to 10 tails Jinchuriki? However, at this moment, Uchiha Xiao suddenly looked at Sasuke, his scarlet eyes were extremely cold, and a strong murderous aura and coercion was released. Don't forget, your strength was given by me. The 3 Magatama in Uchiha Xiao's eyes slowly rotated, and then turned into a beautiful geometric figure. Looking at Uchiha Xiao's Mangekyō Sharingan, Sasuke felt a sense of crisis in his heart. His strength seems not enough in front of Uchiha Xiao's eyes. Sasuke's face changed wildly, and he struggled very much. Finally, he gave up resistance and slowly retreated. He looked at Uchiha Xiao's back. Admiration, fear, hope, countless plots were entangled in his heart, and he found that he couldn't clearly see Uchiha Xiao's strength. How many times did he think he could catch up with Uchiha Xiao, but every time Uchiha Xiao could show more advanced strength, which made Sasuke feel infinite frustration in his heart. Uchiha Xiao. Third Raikage and Luo Sha have not experienced Uchiha Xiao's era, and have no clear understanding of Uchiha Xiao's strength. Judging from the appearance alone, Sasuke's weird skin and flaming body are obviously more intimidating, but Uchiha Xiao is just dressed in the Sengoku period, and there is nothing special about him. But for such an ordinary-looking person, just by standing there, an inexplicable aura spread out. Ghost Lantern Wanyu showed a forced smile. Hey, Bandage Man, have you ever fought with this Uchiha Xiao before? Wu fell into memories for a moment. It was a rare disastrous defeat in his life. His newly developed dust escape could not help Uchiha Xiao at all. Even the strategy he had always been proud of, Yi Ping, had nothing to hide in front of Uchiha Xiao. In the final battle, it was Onoki's kneeling that saved his life. Coming out of the memory, Wu said, "Ah, it was indeed a tragic battle. But it was very tragic for Onoki and I." Uchiha Xiao also recognized Wu. "Shen Dun boy, it's you, Onoki is much weaker than you, and he didn't inherit your mantle." Wu glanced at Onoki, who was looking very unhappy, and replied calmly, "You worry too much, Onoki, I totally agree." Then, Wu's eyes were fixed on Uchiha Xiao. "What about you? Uchiha Xiao, are you going to fight the entire ninja world again? Do you want to experience what happened 60 years ago again?" 60 years ago, Uchiha Xiao died of exhaustion under the siege of major ninja villages. Same, but also different. Uchiha Xiao said lightly. The same thing is that he really wants to sweep the 5 major countries like in his previous life, but the difference is that this time he abandons his previous ideals and wants to build a unified country. Everyone understood Uchiha Xiao's riddle-like words, but he knew that the 5 major countries must be facing a huge crisis now. It seems that the ninja world will continue to do what it did 60 years and 790 years ago. Wu said slowly, his tone full of murderous intent. Uchiha Xiao sneered. The me now is not the me 60 years ago. In 2 minutes, you will see the birth of the overlord of the ninja world. I didn't catch the key word in Uchiha Xiao's words. 2 minutes later. Why is it so precise 2 minutes? What other tricks does Uchiha Xiao have? Even if Wu is very smart, he may not be able to think of the sacred tree and its fruits no matter what he thinks. At this time, Third Raikage took 2 steps forward. Don't talk nonsense to him. Even if he has some big plan, as long as we kill him now. Then all the tricks will disappear. Third Raikage is also telling the truth. It is better to start fighting directly than to think about things here now. Wu looked at Third Raikage. Then you will take the lead, and I will cover for you. Third Raikage nodded, and the next second, a blue light appeared on his body. Lightning Style Chakra Mode. Under the stimulation of Lightning Style, Third Raikage's body has been developed to the ultimate, with strength and speed that are unmatched by ordinary people. The Third Raikage continues to erupt with chakra. The strongest Lightning Style Armor. Lightning Style Armor instantly covered Third Raikage's body. This is the nintaijutsu developed by Third Raikage. It first uses Lightning Style Chakra Mode to increase attack power, and then uses Lightning Style Armor to make up for the lack of defense power. This earned him the title of the Strongest Raikage. Chapter 182. The Strongest Raikage, that's it. Please subscribe. Namikaze Minato looked at the momentum of the Third Raikage and was slightly surprised. As this the strongest Raikage who single-handedly challenged 10,000 rock shinobi ninjas and killed 4,000 ninjas for 3 days and 3 nights. Although Minato was said to be able to kill 50 rock shinobi ninjas in an instant, after 3 days and 3 nights of high-intensity fighting, he asked himself that he really couldn't do it. Onoki's eyes were shocked. You kind-hearted Namikaze Minato, why did you suddenly reveal my scars? In front of my teacher. Aha! Ghost Lantern Wanyu showed an expression of surprise, and then immediately looked at Wu with schadenfreude. Muya looked at Onoki in surprise. Rock shinobi single-handedly challenged thousands of people and killed 4,000 people for 3 days and 3 nights. Where are you as a Tsuchikage? Onoki felt uncomfortable being stared at by the teacher. Teacher, there is nothing we can do about it. Because the front line was in an emergency at that time, I went to support him. Who would have thought that Master Dai Raikage would work so hard? He was speechless. What could he say? His designated Tsuchikage, no matter how much he disliked it, he had no choice but to admit it. While they were talking, Third Raikage turned into a bolt of lightning and flew towards Uchiha Xiao. Before the fist came, the strong wind of the fist had already blown away the armor on Uchiha Xiao's body. Uchiha Xiao was not afraid and stretched out his fist to fight. Boom! Electricity and air currents exploded in the air, and a visible annular air current surged. The two of them raised their fists, their bodies were very stable and motionless. Uchiha Xiao was slightly surprised. The power of the Third Raikage has surpassed that of Senju Hashirama, who has strange power, and is even close to the current Uchiha Xiao. The Third Raikage was also very surprised. At that time, no one in the entire ninja world dared to face his fist, and even the 8 gates tried to avoid his sharp edge. This Uchiha Xiao was able to confront him head-on, which shocked him. You are much more powerful than your son. Uchiha Xiao had a hint of excitement in his eyes. Third Raikage heard what Uchiha Xiao said. He was already angry because of the pain of losing his son. Now that Uchiha Xiao provoked him, his violent temper came back. Hell Thrust. Ipponite. Powerful thunder and lightning. Ultimate speed. Third Raikage revealed a finger, and the finger made lightning, which was very powerful. This is the ultimate move of the Third Raikage, a technique known as the strongest spear, which can make people avoid its edge with just one finger. Purple lightning. Uchiha Xiao was not frightened at all. Purple lightning appeared in his palm and rushed towards Third Raikage. Third Raikage was surprised. He was very confident in his own skills, but Uchiha Xiao dared to stab him head-on. And he also used lightning style. What a deception. Third Raikage frowned, and chakra began to gather in his hands desperately. Soon, 2 thunder and lightning, 1 blue and 1 purple, collided. Boom. Crack. A loud noise resounded through the battlefield, like a thunder strike. 2 lightning beams intertwined and exploded. It was difficult to see the figures of Uchiha Xiao and Third Raikage among the complicated lightning. Wu had some understanding that Onoki didn't dare to fight against Third Raikage at that time. With such speed and strength, Onoki would probably die without even forming the seal. Sasuke was quite surprised when he saw this scene. He is also the master of lightning-style chakra, but he believed that even the 10 Tails Jinchuriki could not create such a powerful thunder and lightning. The 2 thunder and lightning merged. The Third Raikage looked at his chest in shock and saw a large circular gap there. Although the gap was slowly being filled due to Impure world reincarnation. But this cannot hide the fact that if Third Raikage was in front of him, he would have been killed by Uchiha Xiao. You. Third Raikage was about to say something. Uchiha Xiao kicked out, and Third Raikage flew backwards, and at the same time, another gap appeared on his body. The Third Raikage's body fell beside the cage. Even the physical skills are so good, what a scary guy. Wu said. He also wanted to support the Third Raikage, but he didn't know where to start. Just when a few people wanted to continue thinking of countermeasures, Minato suddenly shouted, "I." Behind your back. Third Raikage immediately looked behind him and saw a burning detonating talisman attached to his back. When Third Raikage was very surprised. He didn't even notice that Uchiha Xiao posted this detonating talisman. This was the first time that he was slowed down in terms of speed. Boom. This detonating talisman is an enhanced version, and its power and range far exceed the ordinary detonating talisman. When the smoke dissipated, the bodies of the Impure World reincarnations turned into puffs of fluff. Although their bodies could recover, they looked extremely miserable. This move was indeed beyond everyone's expectations. In the eyes of everyone, Uchiha Xiao was a person with the power of God, which made them forget Uchiha Xiao's identity. A ninja is a ninja who uses all kinds of intrigues and tricks. Sasuke also felt very rewarding watching this scene. After he became Ten Tails Jinchuriki, he always wanted to crush with absolute power, and his combat wisdom was hardly used. Uchiha Xiao's body passed quickly, and while the bodies of these people were still recovering, it was a good time to seal it. Uchiha Xiao came to the broken Third Raikage and stretched out his handful of runes. Seal. Heavenly defying magic formation. In an instant, dense runes appeared on the ground, and with the faint blue light appearing, the Third Raikage was quickly sealed. Just when Uchiha Xiao was about to seal the next one, a kunai flew straight towards Uchiha Xiao's head. Snapped. Uchiha Xiao reached out and pinched the kunai. When he took a closer look, he saw a piece of yellow paper wrapped around the kunai's handle. On the yellow paper were written the words, "Sword of Ninja Love." Whoosh. Minato's figure suddenly appeared in front of him, heading towards Uchiha Xiao from the blue light. Rasengan. In fact, after discovering the explosion, Minato said a reminder and used Flying Thunder God to send himself and Naruto out. When he came back, he saw Uchiha Xiao sealing Raikage. Facing Minato's Rasengan, Uchiha Xiao directly punched it away, and also broke Minato's arms into pieces, so that Minato could not use Flying Thunder God. Uchiha Xiao stretched out her arm to Sasuke, just when Sasuke was confused. Universal pull. Just when Sasuke was confused, he found that the Six Paths tin staff in his hand began to shake crazily, as if a crazy animal was trying to break free from Sasuke's hand. Buzz. Whoosh. Soon, Mano's Six Paths tin staff flew into Uchiha Xiao's hand. Xiao, you guy. Sasuke suddenly became anxious. He wanted to step forward and take it back, but when he thought of Uchiha Xiao's look just now, he backed down. The Six Paths tin staff appeared in his hand, and Uchiha Xiao instantly felt an extremely powerful repulsive force, as if the weapon was resisting Uchiha Xiao's use of it. However, Uchiha Xiao didn't care. He very forcefully poured the huge amount of chakra into the tin staff. Soon, the tin staff stopped shaking. I don't know whether he surrendered or was frightened by Uchiha Xiao's chakra. After cutting down a branch, Minato's newly regenerated arm was chopped off by the Six Paths tin staff. Just when Uchiha Xiao wanted to wave the Six Paths tin staff again, a powerful chakra wave suddenly came from not far away. Dust Escape Original Realm Peeling Technique Pillar. Cylindrical light waves hit Uchiha Xiao from a tricky angle. Uchiha Xiao had no choice but to jump up high and fly into the air to avoid Chenden. Chapter 183. Lost Youth. Please subscribe. Thank you, Second Tsuchikage-sama. Minato thanked Wu politely. More than thanking you, it seems your arm will never recover. Wu looked at Minato's empty arm. Minato gave a wry smile. It's really a difficult battle. This person is 10 times more difficult than Nine Tails. At this moment, the other Impure World reincarnations recovered their physical integrity. When they saw that Raikage had been sealed, they couldn't help but feel how fast they were. Uchiha Xiao slowly landed in the air. Suddenly, he felt a strong sense of crisis. His years of fighting consciousness told him that the next step would be very dangerous. Sealing technique absorbing seal. Uchiha Xiao used Hungry Kido's ability very quickly, and soon, a translucent protective shield appeared on his body. Immediately afterwards, a black flame jumped above the protective shield. Fortunately, there was a sealing seal, and the Amaterasu flame was directly absorbed. If Uchiha Xiao had been slower just now, he might have been ignited by this unquenchable flame. Uchiha Xiao fell on the ground, looked at the countless crows hovering in the sky, and smiled softly. Itachi, you are fine. Everyone also looked over quickly, and they were shocked by the black flames in the hand, especially the Impure World reincarnations. None of them had ever seen such black flames. Moreover, they felt a strong sense of threat from those black flames. It seemed that the body of Impure World reincarnation was powerless against the black flames. Ah, ah, ah. The crows made a strange cry and began to fly to the ground. They gathered together and formed a human figure, which was Uchiha Itachi in a robe. A handsome man appeared on the field. The natural tear lines on his face added a hint of worry to his expression. His bright red pupils were spinning a dark Fuma shuriken. Tobirama snorted coldly. Shout, is it another Uchiha? Tobirama, who was originally not interested in Uchiha, became even more disliking to Uchiha's senses after meeting Obito, Uchiha Xiao and Sasuke after Impure World Reincarnation. Seeing Uchiha Itachi at this time, I became even more wary, even though he had just attacked Uchiha Xiao. Minato frowned. He seems to be the eldest son of the Fugaku clan leader, Itachi Takia. Terumi Mei looked at Itachi's handsome face and swallowed. What a pity, he is already dead. Ghost Lantern Wanyu scratched his head. What did he just hear? Looking at Itachi, Sasuke's eyes were very complicated, CBCG, so he didn't attack Itachi from beginning to end and kept Itachi hiding in the dark. On the battlefield, Itachi felt Uchiha Xiao's majestic power and his heart sank. He can feel that Uchiha Xiao's strength is getting stronger and stronger, which is not a good thing for Konoha. Perhaps, Sleepy Leaf has been destroyed. Thinking of this possibility, Itachi's expression became very solemn. As if he could read people's hearts, Uchiha Xiao said, you can rest assured that your most beloved Konoha has not been destroyed yet. When Itachi heard this, he felt relieved. Uchiha Xiao continued. However, it is coming soon. It may be today or tomorrow. Konoha village. No, the 5 great ninja villages will cease to exist. Hearing this, Itachi's heart lifted. Itachi looked at the towering sacred tree and felt a sense of hesitation in his heart. He had given so much to the village, even giving his life. Is this village that he has always loved so much really going to cease to exist? Call out. A black rod came quickly, and just when it was about to hit Itachi, Itachi's figure turned into dozens of crows and flew next to you. At first glance, Itachi saw Minato's figure. Ah, Lord 4th Hokage. Itachi nodded slightly. Namikaze Minato is a good friend of his father Fugaku, so he is naturally very respectful. Itachi, you have grown up. It's just a pity that I died too early and did not prevent the tragedy. Minato and the others heard Uchiha Xiao's words, and they all knew Itachi's love for the village. Itachi nodded slightly. It's none of Mr. 4th Generation's business. Moving his gaze again, Itachi saw Senju Tobirama with an uncomfortable look on his face. Second Hokage. Itachi saw Tobirama and felt unhappy in his heart. After all, the genocide of Uchiha is inseparable from Tobirama. It can even be said that Tobirama single-handedly caused the demise of the Uchiha clan and indirectly contributed to Uchiha Itachi's massacre of the entire clan. Feeling Itachi's vague hostility, Tobirama sighed. Perhaps what he did back then was a little too much. If there were more Uchiha people in the village now, there would be much less pressure to deal with Uchiha Lien. Itachi looked at Hashirama again, and the hostility in his heart disappeared. Unlike the second generation, the first Hokage was very tolerant to the Uchiha clan, even to the point of making the Uchiha clan embarrassed. So when Uchiha Madara fled the village later, most people in Uchiha did not want to leave the village and chose to abandon Uchiha Madara. One can imagine how popular Hashirama is among the people of the Universe Wave clan. Hashirama patted Itachi on the shoulder with a look of joy on his face. Very good. Young man, I see a strong will of fire in your eyes. Itachi was stunned for a moment. The feeling brought to him by this first Hokage was different from what he imagined. At this moment, a cold voice came. Okay, it's time to end your conversation. I saw Uchiha Xiao moving his muscles and bones. He was holding a 6 paths tin staff in his hand, and the iron ring on the top of the tin staff made a slight clanking sound. The next second, the sound of the impact of iron rings appeared on the side. Everyone was shocked. Uchiha Xiao's speed was too fast. Without third rakeage, Uchiha Xiao's approach to them would be like entering and leaving uninhabited territory. Such a close distance had no choice but to let Hashirama and Minato, the two people with the best physical skills, tremble with Uchiha Xiao. However, Uchiha Xiao had already figured out their way. Moreover, in order not to be touched by the 6 paths tin stick, they felt restricted in their fight. Soon, Minato was knocked away by Uchiha Xiao, and the corner of the tin stick was about to stab Hashirama. There was a crisp sound of striking iron, sparks bloomed on the tin staff, and a huge sickle blocked Uchiha Xiao's attack. Uchiha Xiao was not discouraged by his failure. Instead, he spoke. Long time no see, Modara. With that, Uchiha Xiao turned around. I saw 2 people standing not far away, one was Obito, and the other was a man wearing red armor. There were cracks on his handsome face. This man was Uchiha Madara of Impure World Reincarnation. Seeing Madara, before Uchiha Xiao said anything, Hashirama first shouted, Modara. I'm here. A tic-tac-toe symbol appeared on Madara's forehead, and she pointed at Hashirama. Who asked you? The aloof aura that the master originally had when he appeared was instantly gone. After being pointed at like this, Hashirama lowered his head instantly and felt lonely. Seeing Hashirama's appearance, Madara couldn't help but complain. You can't change your bad habits even if you die, right? Uchiha Xiao listened to the quarrel between the two people, and in a daze, he seemed to have returned to more than 60 years ago. That was his lost youth. Chapter 184. The sacred tree is about to be completed, and everything is right in front of you. Please subscribe. Madara pointed at Hashirama and said, "I'll talk to you later." "Shut up now." Upon hearing this, Hashirama's smiling face suddenly dropped, and he swallowed back the thousands of words he had to say. Madara looked at Uchiha Xiao, wondering what she was thinking. She paused for a while and walked towards Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao looked at Madara and showed a mocking smile. "What's wrong, traitor? Are you going to stop me now?" Madara did not answer Uchiha Xiao's question directly, but looked at the towering sacred tree. Although he looked very calm on the outside, his heart was in turmoil. "I didn't expect you to have made it this far." A glimmer of hope flashed in Madara's eyes. His original goal was to summon the sacred tree and then implement the infinite Tsukuyomi plan to bring true peace to the world, but this plan was unable to be realized due to Uchiha Xiao's interference. Now it is Uchiha Xiao who summoned the sacred tree. Uchiha Xiao looked at Madara. If Madara was not here to stop him, then he could ignore Madara. At this moment, Madara reached out her hand. Uchiha Xiao raised an eyebrow. "If you have something to say, just say it, and if you have something to say, just let it go." Madara's voice was very cold. "You know what I want. If you don't know, why would you leave?" Madara was talking about Nagato's Rinnegan. At that time, Uchiha Xiao took a pair of Rinnegan from Nagato's body. One of them was taken back by Konan using secret techniques. Now White Zetsu is rushing to get it. The remaining one is on Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao covered her face with one hand and sneered. Madara frowned. Whenever Uchiha Xiao laughed like this, nothing good would happen. Uchiha Xiao said slowly, "Are you still addicted to the dreamy bubbles on the Uchiha stone tablet?" Hehehehe. You are more naive and dreamy than Hashirama. Madara's expression became colder and colder. "I reiterate, I just want to get back what belongs to me." The hand on his face dropped. Uchiha Xiao's sneer did not diminish. "It's too late, Madara, the sacred tree will be completed, and everything is right in front of you." As he spoke, Uchiha Xiao looked at the sacred tree. The flower buds at the top moved slightly. Soon, the fruits of the sacred tree were about to mature. Madara slowly lowered his outstretched hand, and his expression became extremely indifferent. On the other side, Uchiha Xiao also stopped sneering. The two looked at each other like this, and an inexplicable cold aura spread from the two of them. Sasuke swallowed his saliva. This Uchiha Madara also had an aura as powerful as first Hokage. He didn't expect that there were so many powerful people in that era. Boom. Bang. Madara suddenly took action and stabbed Uchiha Xiao's throat. Uchiha Xiao grabbed Madara's arm. Because the speed was too fast, a sharp airflow exploded instantly. Obito on the side couldn't help but take a few steps back. Everything just happened in a flash of lightning, and even he couldn't react. Soon, the two Uchiha people started a taijutsu duel. Both of them were well versed in taijutsu, and they showed their skillful Uchiha fluid skills to the fullest. Crack. The fists and feet quickly intersected and collided, and their bodies were flying up and down, blocking, attacking, and resolving. Everything was just right. You can't fight like this without rich combat experience. Sasuke drove the Sharingan to observe the battle. The physical duel alone made him feel that he had benefited a lot. The other people were also very surprised. When they saw the individual skills, they were frightened. Onoki quickly thought of a person. That person had a funny mushroom hairstyle, but in terms of strength, he was a truly strong person. Onoki thought to himself, if it were him, would he be able to participate in that kind of taijutsu, right? To outsiders, the two seemed to be inseparable, but Madara's expression on the court was very uneasy, because he could see that Uchiha Xiao was holding back at every turn, and even though he was attacking with all his strength, he still couldn't hurt Uchiha Xiao at all. Soon, Madara, who was already proud, became confused because of this, and soon exposed a flaw, and Uchiha Xiao seized on this flaw. Boom! Uchiha Xiao swept Madara to the ground with a sweeping kick. After Madara fell to the ground, he immediately wanted to stand up, but Uchiha Xiao was already half kneeling in front of him, with his fingers already on Madara's neck. Madara clenched his fists. Sure enough, it was still the same as before. In the past, only he and Hashirama could defeat Uchiha Xiao together. However, now, Uchiha Xiao is stronger than before, which Madara can clearly sense. Uchiha Xiao slowly said, ... Please give me flowers. Madara, your strength is too poor, both before and now. Madara didn't speak. He lay on the ground and looked up at the sky. It was hard to tell what he was thinking. Uchiha Xiao continued. Not following me is the stupidest decision in your life. Accept it, Madara, accept your own mediocrity. Listening to the last character of Uchiha Xiao, Madara's pupils suddenly opened, and a burst of blue light erupted from his body. At this moment, Uchiha Xiao suddenly said, now is not the time, Madara. Madara's face was filled with anger. What do you mean? At this time, he realized that Uchiha Xiao was not looking at him, but at the towering sacred tree. The huge flower bud at the top of the sacred tree has slowly bloomed. Even though they are thousands of meters apart, the refreshing fragrance of the flowers still spreads throughout the earth. Uchiha Xiao's figure quickly disappeared and came to the foot of the sacred tree. The prison on the edge of the wheel tomb. Uchiha Xiao's eyes were replaced by Rinnegan, and 4 shadows used a formation to protect Uchiha Dai. He must be most cautious about the fruits of the sacred tree, and he will not allow anyone to interfere with the landing of the fruits of the sacred tree. Madara stood up, dusted himself off, and walked forward quickly, wanting to ask Uchiha Xiao whether he would give it to Rinnegan, but before he could take a few steps, a powerful force exploded in Madara's stomach. Madara flew away like a kite with its string broken. Wah, what? Madara was shocked. What on earth was this silent attack? You know, even if it was Uchiha Xiao's attack, he could predict and sense it even if he couldn't defeat it. This attack is too weird. Madara's mind was spinning rapidly, and she soon realized that this was Rinnegan's ability. At this moment, Hashirama took action and flew forward to catch Madara's body. Hey, what are you doing? My body is Impure World Reincarnation, you don't need to pick it up. Madara said loudly, maybe because she was a little annoyed or something. When Hashirama heard this, he was stunned for a moment, scratched his head and said, ha ha ha, I forgot, ha 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 ha. Tobirama walked over helplessly. As soon as the elder brother saw Uchiha Xiao and Madara, his IQ suddenly fell off the line.